unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndiyo hununua. Quickbid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Why you would protect Han Yunxi even though she is a spy for Queen Mother?
How will you repay me?
Just name it.
Who is trespassing in my manor?
He must have a greater purpose. I will continue investigating.
He wouldn't think that I am having an affair, right?
He does really care a lot about you.
Oh no, the Crown Prince asked Gu Qishao to investigate the powder that he switched. Do you know what the powder was?
Na kuomba utulie kijana.
Sikitika kusema kuwa Maya alipoteza mtoto wake.
You tried to kill us, mother.
Kama mimi ingekuwa nimehusika, huyo Maya angekuwa hahemi saa hizi. Usinishike hapo ukaja ukanitia mimba upepo alafu ukaniruka.
I want my son today. Na kama hamtampata mtoto wangu, wewe na machizi wako mtanitambua.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC. Informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC. Kenya's listening. Kenya's watching.
Well, and at 5 minutes past 7 a.m., it's time for our first traffic link this Tuesday. And today we'll be focusing on what will be happening along Gong Road, specifically along phase 3 of this particular route. And this is because of still that ongoing construction, which is expected to end in the month of May. It's actually going to be a 9.8 kilometer stretch. That phase 3 begins from Dagoretti Corner all the way to Karen. But also, during this, during today's broadcast, I'll be also running you through how phase 1, phase 2 came along in terms of construction, the kind of features it has, and how all this has been affecting or impacting traffic, because this is again why this road altogether was being expanded from a single to a dual carriage road. So that is actually what was happening along Gong Road. It was all about expansion of that specific road. That is phase 1, phase 2, as well as phase 3. So before I run you through all the projects and what has been happening on that particular route, let's just quickly check the traffic flow. And we begin from the Coptic Hospital, one of those busy areas, especially this early morning hour. Oftentimes there's usually heavy kind of traffic along this area, and part of what was or still is inclusive in regards to construction of phase 1 and phase 2 of this road, which is not yet per se complete, is the installation of the 5 footbridges in between phase 1 and phase 2. And also I'll be telling you the different designated areas whereby this 5 footbridges needs to be installed. In fact, one of them is around this area, around the Coptic Hospital. Also, part of what they were doing in terms of just trying to ensure they put this in place is around areas where there's a lot of people, because again, of obvious reasons, reduction of accidents as well as reduction of the traffic flow. So around the Prestige Plaza, as you head over to the city center, not so bad, given the fact that especially at this time of the morning, we would expect to witness heavy kind of traffic, given that around this area, it is a bus next to a bus terminus, there's a mall. So obviously a lot of activities around this area. And in fact, also this is where phase 1 terminates in terms of construction. So right now, not so bad. In fact, moving at a very swift pace. The beauty is that this is actually on both lanes. Now, on both lanes on this specific route, I'm just talking about as you leave the city mortuary roundabout, coming all the way to Gong Road via this specific route, and also as you leave areas of Dagoretti, Karen, Gong, coming to the city center via the Prestige Plaza, where there's just a bit of a traffic is around the mall area, but altogether manageable kind of traffic, and this is why we are seeing that orange color there. But away from that, coming back through the same route, moving at a swift pace. So again, it just simply means if you're coming from areas around Dagoretti, could be Karen, could be Gong, or areas around this specific route, this is clearly the best time for you to just leave your houses if at all you're heading to the city center. And also if your business or any work activities around this area, again, this is still the best time for you to leave city center or CBD as you head over to these areas, because on both lanes right now, moving at a very swift pace, no traffic at all, just on some specific area where it begins to slightly build up, but altogether manageable kind of traffic. So why I'm saying it's the best time for you to leave your homes is because Gong Road is one of those busy roads in terms of traffic, heavy kind of traffic, not forgetting the fact that there's still some ongoing roadworks, especially around areas in between Dagoretti all the way to Karen, and this in regards to that phase 2, which I promised I'll just be showing you how that has been coming along. But coming back, the traffic flow, again, like I mentioned, nothing really much happening this morning, at least at 8 minutes past 7 in terms of traffic, whereby perhaps we would be expecting that heavy kind of traffic. But right now on both sides of this road, or majorly along Gong Road, it's just moving at a very fast pace. So again, also what that simply means is that we do not need to look at any alternative routes. And yes, this is actually going to be our focus this day, and I'll be telling you more about this particular project and how far it has reached, given the fact that as of February it was at 83% in terms of completion, and the estimated time and date was supposed to be in May of this year. But obviously we've seen a lot of works, a lot of things rather, that have stalled a lot of ongoing road projects, key among them being COVID-19, as well as matters to do with construction materials and all of that. So I'll be telling you why perhaps this project has stalled a bit, and also the features that this phase 3 is expected to be having by the time it's going to be complete and open up to the public.
Perfectly put. Thank you. Now, let's take a look at what's making the headlines right now. And on the front page of the Star newspaper, Kenyatta men block DP Ruto trip to Uganda. Now, Ruto was on a tour on a private visit, was to fly out with several MPs. Kenyatta men block DP Ruto trip to Uganda. Now, it is reported that Deputy President William Ruto waited for more than 5 hours at Wilson Airport for clearance from state officials who kept passing the buck. So that is what is making on the front line of the Star newspaper. And something to talk about, Hellen Obiri wins first silver medal for Kenya. And, you know, after doing the 5,000 meters final in Tokyo yesterday, and people are just elated because people never expected that Hellen Obiri would go to that far. The nation expected Hellen Obiri to bag the first gold medal for the country. But nonetheless, silver medal is a good one. I don't know what you think about this one, Jane.
We need to stop trivializing a win.
Yeah.
It is a win for our country. She made us proud. She brought this home. So let's just celebrate her for what she did for us as a country.
Exactly. And I think this is like a motivation to most of the athletes. You know, most of they have got several disciplines remaining, and we hope that they are going to do their best. I don't know how it's going to be, but let's just hope that the gentlemen and ladies in Tokyo, Japan will make the country proud. All right. ODM boss Raila's plan to rejuvenate strongholds, conquer new territories. I will give you more details later on, and how he's planning to start traversing the country together with President Uhuru Kenyatta. That is according to Right Honorable Raila Odinga. Now, there is this story here. Her killer killed her dreams too. Mother of slain woman speaks. Who are they talking about? They are talking about the slain woman, that is Wanjiru. Family suspects Wanjiru murdered by boyfriend over move to Qatar. And it's something that, again, at the top of the hour, we'll be having some of the religious leaders to just tell us what is happening in the country currently. I don't know what you can talk about this one, Regina and Doreen, because in the recent past, we've been reporting of cases of either suicide, murder, or just abductions. What's your take on that, Doreen?
I think when it comes to that, especially when it comes to relationships, if it's not working, just leave, or let this person just go. Just have it in your spirit and in your heart to let it go. I don't think it does any good, because like we actually also had this similar conversation yesterday, and you were saying, if you end up killing this person, of what benefit is it?
Yeah.
They are gone, they are dead, so in what way does it benefit you? So if it's not working, just let it be.
Exactly. Regina, this is something that we've talked about, and I know you'll concur with me that in the recent past, the number has completely shot up.
What is happening within the relationship setup is something that, has transcended whatever we had thought about, family and values. And this goes to values.
Yeah.
What values does Regina have as a person away from your partner? For you is life sacred. For you are children untouchables. But over the last few years, we have seen that all that has eroded.
Yeah.
People are ready to take someone else's life simply because they have been slighted. And I'm not trivializing the mistakes that spouses make or partners make within that relationship. I'm just saying life should remain priceless. But over the last few years,
it has become completely,
it's a price we can afford.
Exactly. People think that it's something you can go over the counter and buy and go back home with it.
You can do it. Like, it doesn't scare you that you're spilling blood, that you're taking someone else's life. It's kawaida. And I'm very worried about our generation and the children we are raising. Because us who we find ourselves in our 20s or 30s and probably 40s, we are raising children. And unfortunately, the society is being enculturated to accept spousal murder or domestic violence, either to the men or the women. What happens? So it will be okay when you're tired with a relationship or someone has angered you in a relationship. But it will be okay for you to take their life.
In this case, the family, the story of the late Wanjiru is that 2 days before her departure, because she had just secured a job in Qatar, and just 2 days before she flew out of the country, she was found dead in Kahawa West, murdered, stabbed in the abdomen, and where? In the mouth. Like,
that is a crime of passion, just from even the wounds that she suffered.
Crime of passion?
Crime of passion. And I'm looking at it this way. I followed her story, especially on social media, and there was a lot of speculation. And I'd want to quote what the sister said. And when she was appealing for justice on social media, she was saying that the then boyfriend has actually killed her sister out of jealousy. And when I was reading through the comments, you know how people are harsh on social media? One character actually came out and said that you do not expect that a man has been taking care of you for this number of years and you want to fly out of the country and leave him high and dry.
That's the kind of perception.
So what happens to your dreams?
Now, my questions, that's a good question to read, because I asked myself the same question. So what are your expectations when you come into this relationship?
Let Jen respond to that question. Let Jen respond to that.
Yeah, what happens to your dreams? or other expectations? Jane?
You know, this goes to speak about how we communicate.
Yeah.
Because remember, Ray, we were talking about this, how we are quick to say what we don't want, but we don't say what we would like from a relationship. You get into a relationship and you just figure it out as you go. And then much later is when issues come up, you don't know how to handle them because you did not even come into this relationship on the same page, wanting the same things and expecting the same things and being accountable to each other. You know?
It's the foundation.
The foundation was just, you know, we'll figure it out as we go. And that, I think, is one of the biggest problems that we have with relationships today. We don't communicate from the onset to know whether, you know, there was someone who was saying, if God came down today and akasema you're marrying whoever you're dating, how comfortable would you be with that decision?
Well, are you asking us, boyfriend or girlfriend? Maybe we need to ask that question. Doreen needs to answer that question.
So would you marry the person today?
I need to hear the question.
Right here and now.
Doreen, ask the question to Doreen.
Ask the
Jane.
question.
Aranje.
Yes.
Would you?
Would I do what?
If today was the last day on earth and our good Lord came down and said, today you're marrying whoever you're dating, would you be comfortable with that decision? I
know people are not watching, not personal.
For me?
People are not watching.
Yes. That was my question, Victor. Can I?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
I'll be very comfortable.
Ooh.
Why am I saying that? Because you see, when you're actually talking about it, I was just thinking that the way you were saying from the onset, I think it's important. And yes, we need to be alive to the fact that sometimes things can change in terms of perhaps dreams, aspirations, and what it is you want to get in your life. But why don't you talk about these things? Because why would a boyfriend kill you because you want to pursue your dreams? Because you want to pursue your aspiration? Before I met you, I had my own vision also. I had what I wanted to achieve. So when I meet you, these are things that we need to talk. If you're not comfortable, that's where we part ways. Just from that onset. So for me, I'd be very comfortable.
It's a yes from Doreen. I'd want to hear from Jen, then Victor.
And then you.
No. Jane. If it was the last day on earth.
Let me answer for Jen. Yes,
Victor, come on.
You can't answer for Jen. Just let her answer herself.
This is a question directed to Jane.
Okay, Jen, what's making the headlines?
Victor. If Jen, this was your last day on earth and God actually came down and told you, you know what? The person you're dating, you gotta marry them.
That's what.
Would you?
Well, me ningetembea na Yesu.
What does that mean?
It will have been just me, myself, and I.
Basically what Jane is saying, she's an unclaimed asset. Over to Victor Olo. The gentleman in the... Don't you try and evade this question because you asked all of us this question.
So you have
I will also be answering this question at the tail end of the program.
No.
So
No.
We're crossing over to Victor.
And then to Regina.
Of course, before you continue.
To Victor. So if it was the last day on earth, and you had that ultimatum from the Alpha and the Omega, would you?
For one, students admitted.
No, we can't do this way.
We know they are admitted. They're going to be admitted for the rest of the week.
Dodge.
It's a yes or no.
And it's a simple question.
Well, this is it. Well, marriage is a journey. And you can never settle and say this is it and that's it. It's work in progress. You have to
stop beating around. No. Yes or no.
He's answering in his own way.
I'm answering you. Okay. We will. I mean, it's a work in progress. You cultivate it on a daily basis. And by the way, I will marry the person.
Save you. Let's relationship.
Oh yes.
Let's save your relationship because we don't want you to put you in a hard place.
But okay. God akujisai.
Oh yes, I would do the same.
Oh,
so why are you have to go all around
like that?
Hey.
Now Regina.
Then what about you? There's nothing like at the tail end.
We are at the tail end right now.
We are done with the newspaper
Our
review.
producer and director, Ben has said that this is a conversation that has elicited a lot of debate on social media, especially for those who are watching us live. Remember, you can catch us live on our various social media platforms. We have YouTube, we also have Facebook Live, and you can get further details. We are actually streaming live. So we're going to complete this conversation and bring it to a close on Thursday where I give my response.
All right. Okay.
Let's
come back. Ladies, let's come back to in the headlines. Let's come back. Let's come back. All right. Briefly on The Star, former students admitted amidst COVID infection fears. Now, admission of 1.15 million 2020 KCP candidates to secondary schools started yesterday, that is on Monday, as the first of its kind, coming in the midst of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the admission is expected to run through to Friday, with CAS Sarah Ruto on Monday saying that all candidates who start the 2020 KCP will join secondary schools under the 100% transition program. Let me just toss it to Jen to take a look on what's happening on the Daily Nation.
Yes, let's just quickly run through the front page of the Daily Nation. Quite a number of stories have been featured here, starting with the first story here on the header, all about former Premier Raila Odinga as he faces the big test when it comes to crafting and putting together a team for the general elections. Now he seems to be deserted by his former allies in NASA, and he's now isolated, and he is working to find new friends and create a coalition. That story has been captured on page 8 here of the Daily Nation. We'll be sampling some of those details as we proceed on. But moving to the next piece, which has been featured on the back page of the Daily Nation, this is in regards to the IMF reforms that have been adjusted here and there to allow some of the middle and low income countries to get more funding when it comes to loans in the fight against COVID-19. And Kenya is among these countries. We'll be giving you details in a bit. The main read here on the front page of the Daily Nation is in regards to why Deputy President William Ruto's trip was blocked. And just getting to some more details of this particular story is that there has been a lot of back and forth between the office of the Deputy President as well as officials from the office of the president, with office of the DP saying that this was a private trip that was planned way in advance, but looking at officials who have communicated with the Daily Nation and mostly from the office of the president, they say that they did not give clearance to the office of the DP for him to be able to proceed with his trip because of security concerns, given he is second in command. We'll be giving you the details of how that has been captured here, because that is what they have said. And finally, Form 1 admissions bogged by fee wars. So many parents had to take their children to school yesterday. Some are going today, others will be going tomorrow. But thousands of Form 1 students trooped to schools in as much as so many parents are struggling to just find the fees to keep them in school, and especially looking at this first term fees, which are always heavy. My goodness. And this story was also featured on the Daily Nation yesterday, and they were focusing on the bursary funds. All these and much more we'll be getting to as we proceed on with In the Headlines. Doreen.
All right, coming to the front page of the People's Daily, we still have that story on school and admission, which happened yesterday, and we of course expect that to continue at least up until end of this week, with the main header that there was high turnout in terms of school admission, at least as of yesterday. We also have that story on the concerning the DP and what happened yesterday, where there was drama as Ruto was barred from flying to Uganda. Just continue to say that DP, who was traveling to Kampala on private business, was stopped by immigration officers and told to seek clearance from above. He went home after a 4-hour wait. And this particular story has been well highlighted from page 2 all through 4, just clearly showing us that takes at least a bigger chunk of the paper this morning. So again, we'll be telling you more about that in just a short while, and what really was happening, and perhaps what really forced the DP to go home after all that wait. Coming to matters COVID-19, now there's agony as COVID killed 7 relatives, and these are 2 families in Murang'a and Kiambu counties who are mourning their kin who succumbed to the disease in a span of just 10 days. So clearly just telling us that we're not yet out of the woods, regardless of the fact of the fact that what is still happening. So we are just still trying to learn and understand that we still need to continue taking all the precautionary measures and all that which the government is telling us that we need to do. Now, coming to Kenyan artists, at least now there's a reprieve for artists, where there's a smile after new Skiza deal. So again, also I'm telling you what this entails for Kenyan artists and what this deal means for them. So how it's going to also change their lives there. Coming to what medics are now saying, at least in regards to matters vaccine, now they want the states to prioritize vaccination and health workers' safety. Just again showing us that this is still an ongoing tussle between what the medics want and perhaps what the government needs to provide for them. I'll be giving you the details of that in a short while. Tomatoes politics now, and Raila to launch 2022 bid in Homa Bay County. That is on Friday, where his path for the 2022 race is expected to begin in Nyanza, at least beginning Friday this week. Ray.
Now, it seems the scribes have been reading from the same script, so to speak. Having the copy of the Standard this morning, matters of that particular delayed or rather blocked travel to Uganda by Deputy President William Ruto, as well as looking at the issue of the Form 1 admission that is going to be running all the way through this week. And government says it's very positive that this admission is going to be up to 100%, but it has not been without fault, because there have been cases, though pockets of cases here, with students claiming that, you know, they went to the schools but their names were missing from the register there, just pointing out to the issues of matters of fraud in the Form 1 admission. That is a story that has also found itself on the front page of the Standard this morning. Now, looking at the issue of Tokyo Olympics, Kenyans have really been waiting to just bag some medals there. And there's been a lot of conversation, especially on social media. I don't know if you have been part of it, and if you have, you can also weigh in on this conversation. The performance of our team Tokyo in the Tokyo Olympic Games, are you satisfied with it? Is it justified? Because yesterday is the first time we actually ended our drought in as far as a medal standing is concerned, bagging a bronze and silver there. Were we underprepared? What happened? There was someone who was actually on Twitter at Henry Oriwo. He was commenting and saying, so we took 87 athletes, men and women, and took 90 officials to Tokyo. Ponder on that. Remember what you do. That information is entirely up to you. So matters of Olympics, as well as the Ruto blocked visit to Uganda. This is not the first time it happens. It's actually the second time this is happening, as well as what we are just saying, issues of COVID-19. Are you continuing to take care of yourself? Remember, we are not out of the woods yet. That's just a sneak peek of what we have on the various front pages there. Before we take a short break here, I want to encourage each and every person who is watching us. I'm having Tom Wema, who is watching from Harambe Avenue there. We have Jackson Gashusha there, who is watching from Nairobi area, as well as his colleagues, is watching with everyone in that particular establishment. They say that the reason why they tune in the morning is just to watch the Good Morning Kenya show on KBC Channel 1. So big up people. That is Doreen, Victor and Jane there. It seems we're doing a good job. And indeed we are. Now, can we get to the details? I have quite a story here, especially those of us who are in formal employment. Formal, not informal. Now, it is unconstitutional to fire staff on probation at will. Get that, Victor, Jane, and Doreen?
The top, make it drop.
Oh, yes. It is unconstitutional to fire staff on probation at will. And this is according to a judgment that was made by the labor courts. Let me break it down for you. Now, a law allowing employers to kick out employees under probation without explaining why they were dismissing them is unconstitutional. So if you have been in probation, then all of a sudden you're out of a job, it's unconstitutional. Well, now according to the labor court, it found that section 42(1) of the Employment Act 2007 takes away the right to a fair hearing, as it does not give the employee an opportunity to shop for a union representative or an employee to plead her case or his case, hence against the Supreme law. Now, this High Court ruling, or rather this Labour Court ruling, was made by a 3-judge bench composed of Justice Monica Mbaru, Joram Abu-Oda, and Lynette Ndolo. They observed that the section was discriminatory because apprentices and their indentured learners enjoy the benefits of other employees, but not employees under probation. If you want to follow up on what really actually what went down, you remember you can get further details on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. And this follows a court hearing dated September 30th, 2015, where Mount Kenya University advertised for 3 positions. That is the head of occupational health, safety and environment, senior human resource officers, and the head of human resource organization and design. And the same year, the 7 were among those interviewed for the position and they qualified. They were issued with letters requiring them to report in February 2016. They received sacking letters. Did you get the February? They were given letters that they had sailed through for the positions that had been advertised by this institution. Few weeks later, the same month, the same year, actually after a month, April 29th, 2016, they received sacking letters asking them, or rather requiring them to exit the following day,
after
the
2
end
months
of the probation period.
That's after 2 months.
You know, I don't think people are aware of something called employee theft. Employee theft. And this is something that is very trivialized in the African space, but in the Western countries, employee theft is something that lands so many corporations in lawsuits in cases that they cannot get themselves out of, because any employer that seeks the service of any employee, they are required to provide the bare minimum security of employment and issues, things like health coverage, some allowances here and there, of course depending on the organization, how big it is and how much money it makes, and also the amount of work that you do in that organization. But you find there are organizations that make you work overtime and don't pay you for that, or make you come into the office on days that you're not supposed to be in the office and don't pay you extra for that. That is employee theft. Theft of services offered and no compensation made. We have organizations that refuse to employ or rather to give those that work for them formal employment because they don't want to even provide for them with some of this bare minimums that they are supposed to. So you find these corporations and organizations giving these people terms of employment that are not conducive for anyone, and especially over a long period of time. And you find this probation is one thing that so many organizations take advantage of.
Actually, it is said if you are on probation for more than 6 months, or what they term as more than 6 months, then the organization on that exact either has to release you and tell you why maybe you did not qualify, or consider yourself employed. We had a similar situation some years back, but that's the story for another day. We take a quick breather in the headlines, coming up after not too long.
Nissan Serena ndio hii, na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS, alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi, kwa mfano TV 16, kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Why you would protect Han Yunxi even though she is a spy for Queen Mother?
How will you repay me?
Just name it.
Who is trespassing in my manor?
He must have a greater purpose. I will continue investigating.
He wouldn't think that I am having an affair, right?
He does really care a lot about you.
Oh no, the crown prince asked Gu Qishao to investigate the powder that he switched. Do you know what the powder was?
Lakini kuambia kitu moja kufanyia inakuwa ni ngumu. Kusubscribe.
Inakuwa matatizo.
Hiyo kitu haulipii. Kusupport msanii usingoje asote alafu anze kuja kwenye media sijui saidia hapana, msaidie sahi. Subscribe. Share ngoma yake. Make a crew someone then enda zako.
Nikipiga simu kwani wewe unanilenga, unapea simu shami, aniambie sio sahi.
Wenjili ulilenga, pepo ulipenda, na vile Yesu ametenda, wewe ukamlenga wili.
Welcome back to the program. The show is still Good Morning Kenya, and we're continuing to unpack for you what is making news on the different dailies that we have. So let's come to that story about artists and really what they stand to gain. This is after entertainers upbeat about Skiza 33% royalties rise, where this was actually a decision made by Safaricom to increase the Skiza tunes revenue share for artists and content creators by 33%. And different artists have actually come to laud this move, saying that this is a good reprieve for them, and at least it's a good move for artists, perhaps those in the music space and also the content creators alike. And I'll just sample some few views from various artists and what they had to say in regards to this move. There's one singer, Nadia, who said that the move was timely and she thinks it's a good step towards the right direction, and she of course lauds the different bodies that have done that. Gospel singer Alice also said that the increase was long overdue, and actually it was about time that this was done. And a good number of them said that it's even time that they need to push that to up to 50%, some even saying up to 65%. But again, this move also comes in the wake of the protest by artists and other content creators. Remember that again, during the time of COVID-19, of course, we know that various spaces and industries were affected. But again, we can't shy away from talking about how artists and those in the creative content space were deeply affected by, by the COVID-19 and of course, different other things. So this just comes as a good move and a reprieve for artists, singers, as well as those in the creative content space. One boy.
Now let's get to some bit of details, and maybe we could look at this particular story concerning COVID-19 vaccines that our country is set to receive. Let me just pull out this paper before I get to murder my newspaper. So this is some good news for many African countries, as Kenya is among these 17 that are set to receive a batch of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. 17 other countries, of course, in this particular lot, which include Angola, Botswana, Cameroon, Egypt, Ghana, Guinea, Lesotho, Mauritius, Namibia, Rwanda, Senegal, South Africa, just to mention but a few. So this follows the World Bank's approval of $2 billion, which will go to financing African Vaccine Acquisition Task Team to secure about 400 million doses of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. And this is part of a commitment there is also another commitment of another 220 million doses to come to the African space, and the option of another 180 million. And Kenya is the beneficiary of all this. So we are yet to know how many doses we're going to be receiving. But about 2 months ago, we did see the chair of the COVID-19 task force, that is Dr. Willis, saying that we should expect about 2 million more doses of the vaccine to come into the country. And this consignment is expected within a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks at most. And once they arrive in the country, we will be able to continue with the vaccination process here in our country. So this is definitely good news for us as a country. So far, the country has fully vaccinated 662,089 people, while another 1,064,104 have only received the first dose of the AstraZeneca vaccine. But the good thing about the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, you're only going to be needing 1 dose for full inoculation. So good news for us as a people.
All right. Rick. Okay, let's talk about a bit of some politics here. Raila's plan to rejuvenate strongholds and conquer territories ahead of 2022. Now, former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has embarked on a massive rejuvenation of his traditional political bases, training his eyes on conquering new territories. The ODM leader has lined up mega regional meetings to revitalize the party in preparation for the next presidential candidate. Now, Raila is seen as the best opposition candidate, though, to face against William Ruto, though he has not officially declared his candidature. And Raila said that he said that during some rivals criticizing his age can be easily be defeated in a political battle should he announce his candidature in the coming months. And let me just quote what Junaid Mohammed said, that Suna East MP. He said that Friday will be a beginning of crafting a much bigger alliance that will sweep the country's political landscape. The big ship will carry everyone, will start here in Kisii. Now, they were speaking yesterday during the burial in Kisii yesterday, and it's quite interesting to see that the whole drive on BBI started in Kisii. And again, they're saying that the whole alliance debate will also begin in Kisii. So what's happening in Kisii? Your guess is as good as mine. So this is it. Ruto asked diaspora votes. UDA unveils US campaign team. He has opened offices there in the US ahead of 2022. Now, in 2017, diaspora voters were restricted to East Africa, slightly more than 3,000 registered voters. And on Saturday, a 14-member campaign secretariat leading the Ruto campaigns in North America was introduced. And that is the team, which is chaired by Daniel Sambu, deputized by David Okoth, and Kennedy Karanja as the Secretary General. That is that. There is that story of Deputy President William Ruto being blocked from Uganda trip, told to ask Uhuru permission. So, unusual standoff last about 5 hours at Wilson Airport yesterday, as DP says that he leaves the matter to God. Now, there is a lot of debate about this one. Perhaps we might not get into the details because he said, his handler said that they were trying to call, that is Kinyua, who is the CS, Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Civil Service, said that he should be calling relevant authorities before he's allowed to go on a private visit. The MPs or his entourage were nonetheless left to go. So some people say that this was a way to humiliate the deputy president, much as they say that he ought to have taken that permission from his boss, that is the president, whenever he wants to travel out of the country. Whether that was done, we cannot ascertain right now. Regina.
Away from matters politics.
Exactly. Yeah. What
the
do you
back
have for
and
us?
forth. I think we need to get ready and prepped because this politics is not going away anytime soon. Remember, we're just 5 months shy of 2022. This is going to be on a daily, hourly.
Yeah, we said it here before that we have to see more. We have to see more.
What slogan is coming out for whom and what?
Yeah.
So let's shift gears and focus on Martha's business.
Absolutely.
And I'm targeting the two ladies, that is Jane and Doreen Arange. Because I know whenever we go shopping, you're always comparing prices. And I've deliberately left out Victor out of it. Because a majority of men...
Why?
A study indicates that a majority of men do not go for the price per se. They go with what they saw somewhere. Usually it's advertisements.
Really? Regardless of the price?
Yes. The price is really... It's because maybe you saw it somewhere, you heard it was good, you'll go pick Nivea, you pick... You know? Simply because it's a brand that you have seen, but you're not even aware if there was a price change onto an item that you bought last week and now the other month. That's the truth. So you end in this conversation. Now let's talk about special offers. And I'm talking to the women because we are the custodians of the home. We are the ones who do the majority of the shopping. Now, according to Retail Trade Association of Kenya CEO, this is Wamboi Mbarire. She says, it is very highly unlikely that a supermarket will hike a price to pretend to give a discount. Now, let me give you the backgrounder. Those special offers may not just be special. They're not special after all. So consumers are none the wiser if a commodity is actually discounted since the unit cost of manufacturing is not indicated. So this is what the article says. When you walk into a supermarket, you will not miss items paraded, special offer, and such. And these are very popular with the majority of us. The women, yes, because we're the ones who love shopping. But have you ever asked yourself how special these offers really are? Have you? Or you're interested on how much you get to save? If it's 2 bob, 5 bob,
a shilling?
Yes. Let me speak for the boy child. You accused me before you started
I'm not doing due diligence.
You accused me, but at least let me just say that we have gone to a particular supermarket, namely the Held, where you do your shopping for 1,000 bob, 1,500 shillings, or even 500 bob. And then when you go to pay at the counter, you're told the total amount is 700 shillings. And then you're being told there's a discount of 50 shillings. So you pay 650. But in the real sense, there's nothing like a discount. The total amount that you spent on the goods you've bought is 650. When you go to the shelves, do your mathematics well, they total up to 650 shillings. So whenever you go to pay, at the till, they will give you, and utauliza ni how much? You say, and then it's like 700 shillings. But there's a discount of 50 shillings. There's nothing like a discount of 50 shillings. That discount of 50 shillings is a decoy to bring you back tomorrow and say, Jane's supermarket is cheaper. But Regina's supermarket is more expensive because they don't give me a discount of 50 shillings or a discount of 100 bob.
Now, hold up.
Yeah.
You just butted into a conversation that we had told you to see.
So you see, I do shopping.
Regina chose violence today.
You accused me falsely.
Listen, this is quite something. I want to take you back to some months ago when a certain retailer found themselves on the receiving end when it came to the Capital Markets Authority. They regulate unfair competition. So some suppliers were actually accusing this retail franchise of undercutting deals, as well as just edging them out of their would-be profits. There's something we call the manufacturing cost margin, right? Though in as far as I'm concerned, as well as the SCMA here, there's no actual law that says what you want to do as a retailer to that manufacturing cost. There's no law that says just how much discount you can give. Let me give you an example. So today you want to buy this mug here. So the manufacturing cost, I already know, I'm the retailer. So I decide, because I want my merchandise or to be popular among person XYZ, instead of actually selling it at 110, I sell it at 90 shillings. And I say it's a special offer. It doesn't mean I've not made my profit. Please let the consumer understand.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean I haven't made my profit, but I have chosen to play, you know,
Exactly.
some adjustments here and there. And remember, there's no law that says I cannot give a discount simply because Doreen's supermarket on the other side is selling this particular mag from this particular manufacturer at amount 110. That was just an example. But then there's also another reason why we get some items on special offers. Maybe it's because it's a marketing campaign and such.
Yeah.
And listen to this carefully, ladies. Maybe this retail outlet that you like so much is trying to do away with items that are almost expired.
Yeah.
Wow.
Most of the
Actually,
times.
That was the gist of the story.
Yeah.
So when you're shopping, just don't look at the price tag, look at the date of manufacture and the expiry date,
Wow.
then make that decision.
Let me give you a tip whenever you go shopping, especially for your food stuff. How they arrange the items on the aisles, they put the items that are closest to expiry at the front.
Yes.
So if you want to get milk, bread, cakes, any pastries, things that have, you know, a short life, shelf life, go for the ones at the back. Always go for the ones at the back. Those are the freshest and they have a longer shelf life.
Yeah, it's actually true.
And
by the way.
also, when you're shopping, be sure to do the math as you go along. If you have the time to do that, by the way, write down your list. Ukichukua calculator yako, ukichukua calculator yako, chukua calculator yako.
Yeah.
Make sure what you are putting together is what you're going to get there.
Victor, I'd want you to respond to this. When you go shopping, have you ever written a shopping list?
Yes, I do.
Or you actually carry a shopping list?
And you calculate price as you go by?
No, I don't do the I don't do the price lists, but then it's almost quite.
You have the price estimates.
No, not at all, because it might be 50 bob today and the next morning it's 52 shillings. All right, but I go for what I think is necessary. If you're going for cooking oil, go for that. I mean, it's basically that. It takes us back to our, business education. Way back in primary school, you avoid impulse buying. But this is us men.
Yes.
Men.
I was about to make that demarcation.
Exactly. This is us. Men are not good at impulse buying. A man will go to supermarket saying, I'm going to buy a particular brand of bread. That is what he's going for. And by the time he's going to leave that particular brand, going for the next one, he will have to ask that shop attendant, nani, mkona mkate hii ni ati hii hakuna. Then you see him, sasa.
Sawa, asanti.
Okay, sir, thanks. But for women, you're like, okay, let me just take this bread, then take another, substitute it with another, cake.
In case watoto wasitake hii.
Wanaweka keki hapo kwa trolley. Again,
we spread risk.
This is not like spreading risk. That's why we give you 1,000 bob, but before you even...
You can walk into a supermarket.
Through the whole aisle.
We can both walk into a supermarket with 1,000 bob. And the items you will come out with, and what I will come out with,
so different.
A man will walk into supermarket, just buy a loaf of bread.
I will make the most of that a grand.
Victor, I'd want you to answer, and maybe because you're the man here in this particular I'd want you to answer this question. And really, I've been seeking someone to give me clarity.
Yes.
What influences what you buy as a man?
A need.
Is it the experience with the product, or is it the brand name?
Or hearsay?
No. One,
is it what you have experienced, or
it's one, in business you have to create a need. So I'll buy something because I need it.
I've asked. Let me.
I'm answering your question. I'm answering your question. I will buy because I need it, not that I want it. Number two, I don't go for the branding, because manufacturers are very smart people. Today we'll have a pink color, and then at the end of they also do market study, market research, and they say, because the pink color is probably not appealing to the eye, let's change the packaging. So how you're packaging your product matters a lot. I will not go for the packaging. I will go for the content.
Aesthetics out the window.
I will go for the content.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Doreen.
But
what influences?
But apart from that,
Ajamaliza.
Apart from that,
as he concludes,
I go for the need. I don't need to buy a bar of soap and yet I have got another bar of soap.
For me, it has nothing to do with the need.
But their taste and preference also matters.
Regina has asked me that question. For me, it has nothing to do with need or want. It's sometimes I just want to try out to make a better comparison as I go along.
That's why you try something and then say, hey, mafuta ili react na mwili yangu. Come on.
But if you didn't try, how would you know? Jane, what influences your purchases?
Good question.
Is it your interaction with the product, or you want to try out, as Doreen says?
One, there's interaction. Of course, that matters. That truly matters, and especially with food items, perishables that you consume, that thoroughly matters. But also quantity. Quantity matters. Purchasing power matters. And also the time of the month.
The need.
No, the time of the month that you're purchasing that particular product or for the house. So it's not just one, it's multifaceted.
Various reasons inform your decision.
Okay. Na Manyara, wewe tukimalizia pia kuna someone watching from Treasury anauliza Regina asiachiliwe aende kama hajasema ile swali aliuliza kila mtu.
That's a disclaimer. If God came down today, right now, would you marry? No, Regina.
My hearing is not so clear. What did you say?
Yani umesema hii swali lazima Regina ajibu.
What did you say?
By fire, by fire.
Si mimi. It is the people.
So, come again.
The people want you to answer the question.
I didn't get what you were saying. Jane, you were saying?
We want to know what influences your purchasing of products.
Okay.
And also, Mungu akikuja leo, utaoa mtu wako?
What? I just heard about the purchasing power, and I'm going to answer. So what influences what I buy usually is what I have in my pocket and my need for that thing. And if it is shiny, I'm very attracted to shiny
Aesthetics ni muhimu.
Yeah, I like things that pop, you know. But if I have the money and the need, then how it looks. So for me, I am what they call, when it comes to marketing and consumer, the eye does it. Like, you get my attention, you get it, and you hold it. Unfortunately, if you are as appealing, or the packaging is appealing, and then the item does not perform as I had perceived, it ends at that point.
I know.
It ends at that point.
So disappointing.
So what other question were you asking? I hope I addressed.
That's one half.
Okay, which other question were you asking?
If God was to come
Regina,
today,
we are asking this question for the one last time.
Okay.
Yes.
If God, in fact, Jen asked that question. Let me start it this way. If God came right now, Jen Maliza,
and said you have to marry who you are dating,
Doreen Maliza,
will you marry that person?
Jen answer, Regina answer.
Ati Jane, Regina.
Unaona tamko na confusion. You don't know.
But the 4 minutes to malize hii in the headlines, and you have to answer that question.
Now, remember that we are always
Regina, by the way, everyone answered that question, so you have to also answer that question.
We want answers. We want answers. We want answers.
And we ask on behalf of the viewers.
Answer, Haki.
I am buying tea. I will be buying breakfast this morning on our canteen for my able colleagues here. There's a lot of mandazi and lots of tea.
Very good.
Regina amechoose apoteze shilingi lakini asijibu swali.
When push comes to shove.
Okay, I don't know. Okay, fine. Let us conclude this conversation. Definitely, it would be a yes.
Finally.
Regina.
Even the word tunarukwa. Oh my God.
Why did you take us in circles?
Suspense. Amewatch movie mingi.
All right. And on that note, ladies, we have thank you, Regina, for answering that question. Woo. somebody was watching, sitting at the edge of the seat, literally.
Yani ugalde manakata kuniclaim.
Leo ndio hiyo. But anyway, thank you so
Anasema
much.
tu galde must disappoint.
Yeah, in the next hour, we are going to talk about something that affects all of us. We are going to talk about religion and politics.
Oh.
It cuts across, whether you're a believer or not, whether you belong to one political wing or not, but one thing is religion and politics go hand in hand. So we have got two amazing guests who are going to help us just to, understand what's the role of religion and how politics also shaping our religion in the country. It doesn't matter which side of the religion you come from, but it all begins that you believe in some supreme being. That is coming up in the next hour. Meanwhile, Jen, Regina, Doreen?
We take a very quick breather. Coming back in a few. Stay with us.
Nissan Serena ndio hii, na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS, alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill, kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account, weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bidi yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano, TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bidi yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bidi ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Na kuomba utulie kijana. Sikitika kusema kuwa Maya alipoteza mtoto wake.
You tried to kill us, mother.
Kama mimi ingekuwa nimehusika.
What does this number mean to you? A pack leader? A winner? Or just a number? To us, it means freshness, boldness, vibrancy, and heritage. That's why at KBC Channel 1, we make it easier for you to pop up your family entertainment to a fresh, exciting, and colorful bouquet.
Alright, 5 minutes past 8 a.m. So let's look at that, which I was telling you earlier, and just to run you through how this project has been coming along. So this is actually the state of phase 3 of construction of Gong Road, beginning all the way from Dagoretti Corner to Karen. This is how the construction process began of that particular route. In fact, this was supposed to be complete by May of this year. That was announced in February that this project was supposed to be done by May. This particular project alone, in fact, just this phase 3 from Dagoretti to Karen will be inclusive of 5 footbridges, and it will also be inclusive of what you call a motorized transport system, that is pedestrian walkways as well as cyclist lanes. Proper drainage systems will also be in place. Traffic lights, traffic signals will also again be in place. So of course it will be an all comprehensive kind of project when it's completed. Once it's complete and opened up to the public in terms of construction there. So this is again how phase 1 and phase 2 was coming along. I had also promised to show you how the various phases have been coming along in terms of construction. What was being done along this route was basically expansion. from a single to a dual carriage road. This is just a image of phase 1, which begins from the Kenya National Library all the way to Prestige Plaza. Phase 2 from Prestige Plaza to Dagoretti, and then phase 3, which still has some undergoing works from Dagoretti all the way to Karen. So what is already complete right now is phase 1 and phase 2, simply meaning from Kenya National Library all the way to Dagoretti. That is what is complete. Phase 1 and phase 2, there's still remaining ongoing works around this area that is not yet complete, is the installation of those 3 footbridges. One is supposed to be at Kenyatta Hospital, one is supposed to be at Coptic Hospital. And what they're trying to do with those footbridges is just try to make it easy for these pedestrians or residents along this road, because I mean, just look at those key areas where they've designed and designated those footbridges to be at place, around areas where there's a lot of movement of people. And like I keep mentioning to you, is that the major reasons why we always have that, especially around key areas or key points, is simply because to reduce on the number of accidents as well as reduction of the traffic flow. They haven't really quite put a specific date and time as per when those 3 footbridges are supposed to be complete. What they've just said is the different areas where those 3 footbridges are supposed to be put in place. So right now what is already complete is the expansion of phase 1 as well as phase 2 of Gong Road. What still remains is those 3 footbridges around those specific areas that I've just talked about. Again, in addition to the expansion of this phase 1 and phase 2, it was also inclusive of pedestrian walkways. Clearly from just what we're seeing on this particular image, this is how actually Gong Road looks like, that we have pedestrian walkways as well as cyclist lanes, and the concept is still, I mean, the same in terms of traffic reduction, traffic flow reduction, as well as reduction of accidents. So clearly just means that we have this specific major road for vehicles, both public and private. We have specific designated lanes for pedestrians as well as specific lanes for cyclists. Also, this particular phase also had traffic lights as well as traffic signals, and this was to reduce on the mugging cases, most especially along this route. And again, we've also seen that being put in place on either road that has been earmarked for reconstruction, expansion, rehabilitation, altogether, at least reduce on mugging cases. And this is again in early morning hours, or better still, evening rush hour. So this is how this particular project looks like. And like I mentioned, that this already complete, open up to the public, easy movement. What is just still remaining is those 3 footbridges. So again, it just simply means that the moment that is already up in terms of construction, I will be telling you how that project will be coming along, when it's expected to be complete, because obviously we know anytime there's an ongoing road construction, it definitely has an impact on the traffic flow. And also the minute this particular phase will be complete and all these features like that I mentioned put in place, we'll again just keep tabs on this particular route, try to see how all this will be affecting and impacting traffic altogether. But then again, on the next link up segment, I'll be telling you why this project has stalled a bit and how the traders along these various areas or routes have also resulted in the stalling of this particular project.
Period of campaigns, and what is the role of religion in shaping our politics? So the question is, how is religion and politics related? All right, we are going to be in that particular point.
Sing sinking sun. Jamaica wanna get him from human being. And them not do it right. Up up to the night. That's how we do it right. One thing we tell the woman and get it right. Go down there, why not go down there? Go down there, why not?
Welcome back once again. All right, that's what happens during live transmission. And that is it. So, as I stated, we are talking about people in politics. And our main topic today, we want to talk about people, religion, and politics. We're in that particular period once again, every 5 years. And we've seen, politicians are now starting to race because for them, there is no time left. 1 year to go. In August next year, we'll be going back to the polls once again to elect our leaders. And we have to cut that thin line between religion and politics and how the two are interrelated. And joining me in studio, I have Bishop John Warari, who is Executive Member, Interreligion Council of Kenya. Bishop, welcome to the program.
Thank you so very much, and thank you for having me.
Welcome. And as well, we have Dr. Sheikh Hassan Omar Kinywa, who is a lecturer, religious studies at the University of Nairobi. Dr. Karibu.
Asante sana.
Let's just begin where we should. The politics is already heating up and we all know what's happening. But before we get into that, we have seen a lot of things happening in this country. People killing each other, something that we just discussed in the headlines, and we read it on newspapers almost on a daily basis. Murders, killings, abductions. Let me start with you, Dr. here. What is happening in the country? Are we stressed?
There is a lot of stress actually in this country.
Yes.
Because what we realize is that our politicians, they are just geared toward campaigns.
Yes.
In fact, what I can mention is that as soon as most of them were elected to office when they were elected in 2017, they began the second month to campaign for themselves.
Campaign for 2022.
2022, from that time. And from then, they have made people to be in campaign mode since then.
Yeah.
Because of that, they have also been amassing a lot of wealth from the wananchi, from the public coffers. In that, then, it means that wananchi, the common wananchi, don't have something to put in their table.
They are empty. Their pockets are empty.
Pockets are empty. Children are dying, but politicians are not looking at that.
Yeah.
And that's why you see politicians are just pushing their agenda. For example, you remember when now BBI came. As soon as that came, no politician was listening to anything else. Those for BBI were just BBI. Those against it were just against it. So they were not caring. In fact, they are not, even as we speak.
Yeah.
Politicians are not caring about what wananchi are going through.
Exactly.
That is the problem.
Bishop, this is where we all should be running to. And every day we wake up in the morning, you hear of a couple that just murdered themselves, somebody just committed suicide on that end of the corner of this country. And it seems that it's not coming to an end anytime soon. Who is to blame out of all this?
Thank you so very much for that question.
Yeah.
It's true that there is stress in the land. People are facing the so-called new normal.
Yeah.
And the reason could be economical factors, because the world at large is going through economic recession. Of course, we are at a crossroad, politically, so to speak. And we have some obligations as a nation. For example, the debt burden.
Yeah.
So our economy is not really as good as it was some 5 years down the line. And so we have less in terms of provisions. Again, the issue of the confinement because of COVID.
Yeah.
And we should also remember that to date, we have about close to 3 million Kenyans who have lost their jobs.
Exactly, since last year.
Since last year.
Yeah.
And that has a trickle-down effect because we are socially knitted together as Africans and as Kenyans. So when you are working, you help your relations and kinsmen. And when you are not working, then they all suffer. And so we are having a lot of stress, and I don't think our society was ready for this. And we've had no coping mechanism. We've not had a proper psychosocial counseling, and we don't know where to run to, because everyone from the politician to the bishop and to the sheikh, we are all in the same boat that is being pushed left, right, and center.
Yes.
So it is true, we are in very strange times and moments, but it's not going to be like this forever. And when you've said that couples are killing one another, I'm very, very heartbroken because of that. Or they turn to their children who are angels and they are victims of circumstances. If I differ with you, or if I differ with my spouse, I should leave out the children. I should leave out my other relations. But then there's been gaps. Have we been psychologically prepared? How do I react to my losing a job? How do I react to many other things by contracting corona? You know, some people think now the world has come to an end. We must come out and support one another.
Exactly.
And that is why I'm very happy because of Daktari, we've worked with and sat in many boards with him, that religious leaders are available. We are available to work with our constituents, to work with Kenyans in these hard moments.
But just to bring you in, Daktari, so have we run away from religious leaders, people who initially we will go to, you know, in terms of counseling, you go out there and just find somebody who is neutral to talk to. Have we lost that direction as Kenyans? Because actually it was yesterday when we reported in the newspaper that a lady somewhere in Kabete had a disagreement with the husband. And as soon as the husband left, the lady turned to the children. One was, I think, 5 years, another one was 4 years, and another one was 5 months old, who, the moment she was going to strangle the 5-month-old baby, that's when she woke up and realized, where have we gone wrong as a nation?
Thank you so much for this question. You'll allow me go back to, you know, Arabs tell us that إذا كان رب البيت بالطبل ضاربا فلا تلم الصبيان فيه على الرقص. When you see the head of the house playing music or some musical instruments, don't go and tell the children to stop dancing. If the leader stops the music, children will not dance. So the problem in our country is that it comes from up. Our politicians are always at loggerheads with each other, and you know they are doing it for their own interests. Today a politician, I might be a politician from this side, and then I become an enemy of my brother here. Then tomorrow you see myself now becoming his closest ally, and then you become our enemy. They are playing games, but you know, people down there, they don't understand these games. They see this is a game. They don't understand this is game. These people fight, then at night they meet somewhere, they take a cup of coffee and say, let us mix them up so that when election comes, we might even merge together. So these are the problem. But what I can say is that I think we religious leaders also have abdicated our roles. Because we were supposed to be with our constituent each and every time. But the only challenge is that you see politicians also, they know that there are some religious leaders who are a little bit hungry. So they go and give them some money. You see them in the churches, and you know, I'll not mention mosque because we have made sure, especially we, Kenya Muslim National Advisory Council, we have said that no politician will be allowed to speak in mosque.
That will be
no
discussed.
Muslim.
Yes, that will.
So now what
we'll
we're
talk
trying
about
to say is that
yes.
we religious leaders, it is as if we are not doing what we are supposed to do.
So you are, as you put it, there is a disconnect between what we call the sheep in
Yes.
the Christian language, the
Yes.
sheep and the flock and the shepherd.
Yes.
So who is to blame in this situation? Because we really need to get that solace.
In a way, we religious leaders take the blame.
Yeah.
We take the blame because at this particular time we were supposed to put all our heads together and see how we can at least get our people together and tell them that don't worry. Things will be okay.
Things will be okay.
Because as they say in the book of Isaiah 60:22, at the right time, the Lord will make it happen.
Exactly.
So Kenyans will should just be patient, persevere, because things will be okay.
Things will be okay.
COVID will go out. And when people have disagreements in house, as my mentor has said, let us not transfer the same to our children. But what I'm trying to say is that anyone who actually, I'm calling upon Kenyans, no one should take their life, because our lives, souls and body belongs to the one who created us, who is God. So no one should do that. But if you know, there are times when you as a human being, you say that let this bus stop and then I exit. Exit alone. If you must exit, please exit alone.
Because that's how you planned your journey.
Yes.
That's how you planned your journey.
Don't force the children to exit.
Absolutely.
Because when you kill them, you have killed our president, you have killed our pastor, you have killed our imam. Please let them be. Just as you are. Yes.
And Bishop, at one particular point, the way Dr. has just stated, because you realize that most people have not gone to church for close to a year or so. Most people would run to church or to mosques every particular day. You know, they go to pray and just have that corner and just have calling that supreme being to intercede. That has completely collapsed. What can we do at least just to bring the spirit of all Kenyans back to where it used to be?
Dr. Kenyo has mentioned something very important. That we should give our constituents hope, our Kenyans. Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And he's good. He's quoted Isaiah in congratulations, Dr.
He's a lecturer of religious studies.
Yes. In the same book of Isaiah, chapter 3, verse 10 says, tell the righteous, it shall be well with them. We have a mandate, we call it prophetic mandate, the religious leaders. Ours is to give hope. Ours is to mediate. Ours is to go before God and intercede. And so at this moment, yes, I said that the politicians, Kenyans at large, are all of them are suffering from some stress or depression of some kind.
Exactly.
It is not easy to be a politician. Because in politics there is a lot of intrigues. Like Dr. Kenyo has said, they will fight and then tomorrow they are together. It's not an easy life.
The way we are seeing right now.
And that is what you are saying right now. And so we, the religious leaders, will have to tell our people the truth. That we hold on a little while longer. Things are going to work out. God is coming through for us. And if somebody has a problem, I would urge them to reach to us. We are available. We'd want to work with them, like the organization of Inerera plus Kenya, where we have very nice counseling facilities. Interreligious Council of Kenya, we have a call line where when you call, there will be a trained professional counselor who is going to listen to you at no cost at all, and we will be able to work with Kenyans. So it is true, we are at a crossroad, and it's complicated, like what Dr. Kenyo has said, by the politicians. They are setting the wrong agenda. They are actually causing anxiety in the nation, because I mentioned debt burden. I mentioned, or rather, I would even mention other things like bad governance and all that. We are not unique. Other nations are going through the same.
Actually, it's worldwide.
It's worldwide.
Right.
And so I would want to believe that the politicians should tone down. They should slow down, because if you'd stop every Kenyan and measure their BP, I think it's elevated already. Because this look at the newspaper headlines. It's not encouraging. It's not telling us something good. But here we are telling Kenyans that there is God in heaven, and He hears our prayers. And indeed, COVID will come and go.
It will come and go.
Yes, and we are praying that God is going to use our scientists, because faith moves with science. God is going to use our scientists to come up with a vaccine through the power and grace of God that is going to wipe away makali or the ravaging powers of this COVID.
Exactly.
Yes.
Daktari, just a recent survey showed that almost close to 500 people committed suicide in Kenya in a very short period of time. People committing suicide. In fact, the latest one was a young child around 10 years old. How can we sort this out?
You know, my brother, just as Mchungaji has said, in Inerela, we at Kenya National Muslim Advisory Council, we have counselors. Personally, I serve as a chaplain in 5 universities, because I teach in 5 universities, one of them being University of Nairobi, Riara University, Tangaza University, Machakos University, and other universities. In all these universities, I also serve as chaplain, voluntary. I'm not paid for chaplain services. And I can tell you that the time we have seen, the most difficult times are these times, because I can receive more than 100 calls in a day for people who seek advice on these issues. And we have averted and at least stopped more than 100 deaths since COVID began. People who have come to us and told us that now I don't see anything, Sheikh. You are talking to me, but me, I just see darkness.
It's all over.
Yes, I just see darkness. So what do you want? Someone told me, I just want to die. And you start the journey with those people. Why do you want to die? Do you think you are the one who created yourself? Do you think these things will continue forever? And I remind people in the Holy Quran, where Allah tells us that wabashiri swabirin, you have to give glad tidings to those who persevere. Alladhina idha aswabatum musiba, those when any tragedy strike, qalu inna lillah, they always say inna lillah, we belong to Allah, wa inna ilayhi rajiun, and to Allah we shall return. In fact, that's why we always, when you hear anyone who has passed on, you see Muslims and hear them saying inna lillah wa inna ilayhi rajiun, meaning that if, for example, I hear my father has died, I should not start wailing, crying. No, I must cry because I'm a human being, but I must remember that inna lillah, we all belong to Allah, and to Allah we shall return. So what we are trying to tell Kenyans, let us have hope. Kuna nuru gizani.
Exactly.
But I'm not talking like the other one. Lakini kuna nuru gizani. There is light somewhere.
Yes,
there is light somewhere.
There's light at the end of the tunnel.
And as he has said, our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, told us, Ma anzala Allahu da'an illa wa anzala ma'ahu dawa. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never bring any illness or any disease, but He must bring cure. There is cure for COVID. It's coming. There is cure for HIV and AIDS. There is cure for everything. It's only that scientists also, pharmaceuticals are also, they also play their own game, because it's also an industry which want to make money. But there is cure for everything.
There is something Bishop has said, that faith goes hand in hand with science. Perhaps, you know, as a bishop, you see people each and every day, parents. Right now, people are going to school. I mean, the pockets are dry. We have got over 1.1 million students joining Form 1. How can we just give hope to that parent who feels like, you know, it's all over now, and you know, I lost my job, there's no any source of income, everything is now coming down tumbling. From your own perspective, how do we move on as a nation?
One, we empathize. We feel with our parents and Kenyans.
Yes.
Of course, even the bishops and the sheikhs, they go through also those hard times. But we must learn to look up.
Yeah.
I always take an example from my parents. They were freedom fighters. My mother was jailed. My father was jailed. And they were mistreated.
Yeah.
In fact, they were separated for quite a while. But when my mother was released from committee prison, she went straight to my father's home to wait for the husband who was incarcerated in a place called Manyani. Things were very tough and rough during those moments.
Yeah.
Remember, the masters, the colonial masters, were even poisoning the wells from where people used to
draw
go.
water from.
Yes.
Right.
They would drive away the cattle. They would kill and castrate men, and they would actually mess up with our women.
Yeah.
But our parents didn't give up. That is why we are here. They hoped against hope. They looked up to God. They prayed and they believed that tomorrow will be better than yesterday. And that is what we would urge Kenyans. And I would also add this, and especially to the men folk, that men, please, let's start speaking.
And it's a very big problem. That's a discussion we've had here before.
Yes.
That men, we just don't open up easily.
Well, I think we should now remove the mask.
Yeah.
And accept the fact that things are not okay. And go to Sheikh Kenywa, he is available. Go to Bishop Warari, he's available. And let's talk. Because when you bottle up, when you accumulate issues in you at one time, because you are human, it's going to explode.
Yeah.
And you may project that to your wife, to your boss, to your fellow Kenyan. And the most important thing, and this is how the religious leaders, and especially from the Dialogue Reference Group of Interreligious Council of Kenya, we have been able to mediate. We have been able to broker peace. And the reason how we did, the reason why we succeeded was because we encouraged dialogue.
Yes.
We talk. How I wish even from this studio, the famous KBC, before I drive off, there is one man
who's already changed,
who is listening, and he will stop me at the lobby and say, Bishop, I want to share with you the things I'm going through. And you should know really that you are not alone. We are all going through hard times, and the best thing is we speak it out. We speak it out, what is happening within, and you are going to be helped. If you bottle it up, I can tell you it's going to take toll on you, and you're not going to. So, what is difficult? To treat a condition or to speak, face the shame, if that is what we are ashamed about, and get healed. So, I would rather talk, because in talking, I will get my solution.
Exactly, and Daktari, he's raised a very good point. That it's like a boiling kind of an eruption, and we saw what happened in Congo the other day. It was an eruption which was boiling underneath the earth, and when it blows out, we see the destruction. That's just like an anger when you bottle it up for quite a long time, and all of a sudden it blows up out of proportion. But is there hope for the country?
There is great hope for this nation, but it will not just come on itself. I'll begin with we religious leaders must take our role. We must stand firm and see that we take the responsibility which Jesus took, because he stood against the oppressors. We should take the responsibility and do like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did. He stood against the oppressors, and that's why in fact at the end we realize that people realize that kumbe one can be a religious leader and at the same time a statesman. Because we realized that when he left Mecca, where there was a lot of oppression, and he went in Medina, liberated the people, they made him become the leader in both politics and social matters, and that has been there. Let us stand still. Let us stand like Father Kaisa did. Let us do as all other people did, Reverend Joya and the rest. What they have been doing, we must continue with the same thing, because we are the ones who should be looking at what politicians are doing and telling them in their face what you are doing is wrong.
Absolutely. And that just brings us to the end of that. So as you've heard from the religious leaders, there is hope for the country. If there is something that, you know, as a person or as a family or as an individual you're going through, get help. It doesn't hurt. In fact, they say a problem shared is a problem half solved. And by the way, it could be completely solved, right?
Yes.
Talk about it and you get a solution. So always be ready to share. So let's talk about the whole issue here. The drumbeats of politics, we can hear it sounding from afar. And slowly it's coming and we can get the sound of politics. The drums, you know, they're ready. They're almost dancing to the tune of politics. It's going to be hard. Starting with you, Daktari.
Surely speaking, it's not starting.
Yes.
It is started.
It's already hard on us.
It is now actually at the summit of it.
Yes.
At the apex. You see, things which have started happening currently shows that now we are in campaigns. The campaigns we used to see 3 months to election is what we are seeing now. Actually, what I will tell Kenyans is that they must always try to look at their politicians. Where do they live? What do they drive? What do they eat? Where do they take their children when they are sick? As soon as they start seeing that, then they'll not be taken for a ride by politicians. And we religious leaders should now put a policy in all our places of worship that politicians will just come and pray like any other person. If they want to speak to the congregants, they should not use our pulpit. Let them go outside. Because they don't allow us to go to preach from the parliament. They don't allow us to go and preach from the State House. We visit State House many times. I've also met my brother there. But when you go there, we just go pray for the president. We go to parliament. I've been there many times. We go and pray for them. Then you keep quiet. Then they do their work. So when they come to church and mosque, let them know that now I'm the head of the mosque, the head of the church. They come and listen to everyone. Then they should not use the pulpit. If they want to meet people, here they can only greet them. But if they want to talk to them about politics, please go outside.
Bishop, he said a very important thing. It's a funny one, that you don't go to parliament to preach in parliament, in State House and what have you. But the question is, you are the people who give them that platform to politic, all right? Before you answer that, let's just take a break, and when you come back, we're still having this discussion. And by the way, you go to our social media and ask your questions. We have the gentlemen here who are helping us to talk about religion and politics. How are they interrelated? The drums of politics already here, and the way Dr. Kinyo has said, already imefika hapo apex. So we'll be right back. Send in your questions or comments to them. We'll be sampling them during this particular program and until the tail end. We'll be right back after this break.
Lakini kwamba kitu moja kufanyia inakuwa ni ngumu. Kusubscribe
inakuwa matatizo.
Hiyo kitu haulipi. Kusupport msanii usingoje sote alafu anze kuja kwenye media sio saidia hapana, msaidie sahi. Subscribe, share ngoma yake, make a clue someone, then enda zako.
Take you home with me. Take you home with me. Mbona wewe saizi nikipiga simu kwani wewe unanilenga? Unapea simu shami, aniambie sio sahi.
Wenjili ulilenga, pepo ulipenda, na vile Yesu ametenda, wewe ukamlenga wili.
the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas. Movies.
I love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the Popos. Huh?
Drama.
Did he assault the Queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
And welcome back. People in Politics is on right now, and we are talking about religion and politics. How are these two connected? We've seen over and over and over and over again, politicians, anytime they go to any place of worship, they take charge. But the question I have for you, Dr. Bishop, before we went on a break, you are the people who give them that platform.
Thank you so very much. That's a good question.
Yeah.
And statement that we are the people that give these people the platform.
Yeah.
Remember, they are part of our congregation.
Mm-hmm.
And not all preachers are the same. There are some. Just the other day, and I would mention the PCA Church has given a communique that they are not going to allow politics on their platform.
We've seen this before.
You have seen it before.
We've seen this before, some kind of communications barring politicians,
yes.
But they'll always maneuver their way in.
Yeah, that is politics.
Yeah.
They are very sly. They will come and say they just want to greet people. I remember some 2 years ago at outside Serena Hotel, myself and another senior archbishop, we stood there and gave a presser saying that the politicians, when they come to church, for example, in fundraising and all that, there should not be fanfare. If they are coming to give, whatever they are giving, they should give quietly. In fact, the Bible says your right hand should not know what your left hand is given.
doing. Yeah.
And soon after we had given that communique, that we do not want the politicians to infiltrate into our pulpits, somebody was sent to me in person. He came to my office and warned me that I should keep off those lines. And he was very stern. In fact, he asked me, have you heard what I said? What he said? And I told him, yes, I have heard. You have been sent by politicians. They are trying to intimidate me. I have said no to corruption. In fact, we have faith communities against corruption. This is a publication that we have done, and it encompasses all the religions with the collaboration with the National Anti-Corruption Campaign Steering Committee.
Yes.
The other day, there was a big, in June, we had Church and Politics Summit in Westlands. So we've been threatened. Our names have been mad slang. But the word is, we as religious leaders are even urging our fellow religious leaders, kindly stop the politicians from interfering with the pulpit. It's a sacred place. So for me, they have tried and I have said no. Some, they have come with a carrot, dangling the carrot.
Yeah.
I have said no. It is not easy. And so the thing is, it's our time to stand up and be counted, to lead this nation in the right path, to tell the politicians to tone down. There is a tomorrow. You see what they are doing. The other day, a politician grievously hits an ordinary Kenyan, and it was very sad. So our prayer is that from the religious side, we want to rededicate our pulpits back to the owner, and that is God. And please allow me at this juncture to thank the Muslim community, because even in their funerals, not a single politician is allowed to politic.
Then why is it that from other side of the corner, you allow politicians? Because anytime the mic is on, we see they take charge of the whole service.
I agree, and regrettably so. And what we are saying is, the way forward is to say no, just like the Catholic Church has done, the PCA Church has done, that yes, you can go and play your politics outside there. And you know why they run to church? It's because
there's a ready crowd.
There is a ready crowd.
There's a ready crowd.
They run there because we are believers. We believe that what they are telling us is true. But upon scrutiny, we find they are not true. And so, next election, I can tell them, and I would rather they listen to me. I'm a prophet in training. I have not qualified fully. But the tsunami that you have had is going to sweep over this nation. God is going to bring a turnaround. We are going to have the right people ruling over this nation. Because the sleeping giant, and I'm going to urge even our youth, who are the majority,
almost 70% of the voters.
70%. They should not just wait for somebody who has overeaten and is having indigestion to come and vomit at them. They should, in the Bible, if you allow me, in the book of Judges, chapter number 9, there is a man, he was a son of the great man called Gideon. And Gideon had other sons. He had actually 71 sons. So Abimelech was a son who was very ambitious. And he wanted to be the ruler of Israel under any cost. So he started a negative narrative. And we have had some negative narratives from the politicians. And he was able to persuade people to give him money and political will. And you know what he did? He went and slayed all the other 70 sons of Gideon, and he imposed himself to be king. Israel regretted it. And we as Kenyans, we should be awake and watch. In fact, that politician, we should have scrutiny. Is he a truthful person? We know money is a factor. Where did he get his or her money? Is that person a God-fearing person? Do we have Gideon factors in our politicians? Do we have Daniel factors in our politicians? People who walk right, people ambao hawapori mali ya wengine. This is the kind of people. In a few months' time,
we will see them coming back to the ballot to seek for our votes.
And we are ready.
I'm going to ask you a question here, Sheikh. What is so hard just to say no to a politician the moment he is in a mosque or a place of worship? What is so hard in saying no to them? Follow our rule. This is it. Give your offering and go. You are going to answer that. But before we do that, let me just cross over to my colleague, Doreen, to just give us some of the feedback we are getting from the viewers. Doreen, what do you have?
Came after the break. That was a very good question that you asked there in terms of Are we, or is really the church just allowing these politicians in? And I'm actually from our various pages, we are having a lot of feedback in regards to that. Remember that you can also reach us via our various platforms. That is at KBC Channel 1 TV, at Jane Wanboy, at Victor Olo, at Ray Manyara, and at Doreen Aranga. The hashtag is Good Morning Kenya, or you can still use politics in church. Tell us what you think about that. And just to say what Wambua is saying here is that any politician in a church should be treated as any other church attendee. And now, Vic, before I continue sampling all this other feedback, perhaps I'd want to pose that question to our bishop. You know, just going by what Wambua is saying, I mean, when we treat these politicians as perhaps demigods or very important, is that what brings them constantly in church and perhaps for the wrong reasons? What does our bishop think?
Okay. But what's any politician in church should be just treated as
normal,
an attendee. Is that so? Start with you, Dr.
Thank you so much. In fact, if you allow me, I will give my church colleagues an advice. And actually, I must commend my friend, Provost Wainaina. He's a great friend.
Yes.
Actually, from ACK Church. Yeah. But we have been having conversation, and I've seen him doing what I told him to do. Because one thing I will advise the Christian church leaders: never reserve any seat in the church for any politician. You know, I play politics also in a way, and you'll always see me when politics come. And you can realize that sometimes you're with a politician and he can attend 5 church services in a day.
Yes.
So what happens is that he comes last. So wherever he comes, he knows where his seat is, because there are people waiting for him outside.
In front.
He goes to the front. Then when the priest see that he has come, he'll not take more than 5 minutes to conclude what he's saying. Then he'll allow the priest, the politician come. The politician will give his, he'll take his moment, like 20-30 minutes. Then as soon as he finishes, he'll not sit to hear what the priest says. He goes to another church service because he's being waited somewhere.
Yeah.
So he'll have attended 5 churches, but not to pray or listen to what the priest is saying, but to give his message, because there is already crowd there. Let churches stop that. I give sermons, and actually Kenyans have been seeing me in KBC every Friday from 12:30 to 1 p.m. I'm sometimes in Masjid Imtiaz Ali, where I'm the head of religious affairs here in town.
Yeah.
Politicians come pray there. When they come from parliament, they come and pray there. You'll never see them because they sit where they have come. In mosque, whoever comes first, even if it's the poorest, sits in front. I also give my sermons in Karen Mosque. Of course, almost all politicians live there. Yeah. But when they come, they sit where they have found us. I also give sermons in Masjid South B, Al-Huda Mosque. So if the church start that, then the politician will know that I'll go to this church today. I will sit from the beginning to the end. I can give my message, but I must sit down to listen to my priest.
Yes.
Trying to critique what I have said so as to guide people. Okay. So that is what we should start doing, and we should not allow politicians to speak politics in the mosque or church.
Absolutely.
Let them be doing it outside.
All right. Before you respond to that, Doreen, if you have another one, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, we still have one. Clearly, that was a good response from our sheikh. They are just agreeing with what Wambua is saying, that clearly politicians need not to be given a front seat. They need to sit anywhere, just like any other Kenyan who perhaps goes to church. Okay, so let's hear what Richard is saying. There is that at Richard Bosire saying, Embu Diocese of the Catholic Church banned politicians from church events, including Harambee, and he has attached a file copy of that particular, what the Embu Diocese said. Perhaps, you know, it's about different churches need to be doing that, banning all politicians from church events, as well as also Harambees. We have Kevi 62 saying that words from the Bible must be met with action by the clergy without cutting and pasting verses for church politics and selective reasoning. It seems these days the Catholic Church has become hyper-political, which started in 1980s, just showing that this is not something that has begun yesterday, going by that tweet, that perhaps it began from way back. And this is actually what our guests are addressing today, what we need to do to ensure that we stop all that. So let me just look at one last tweet, and again, I want our bishop to respond to this because we had our sheikh responding to the first tweet. This is at Sandy Dill saying that it's so dangerous. I will never step foot in the church because of politics that usually go on in God's house. And perhaps I'd want our bishop to address this simply because we know church as being God's house, again going by that tweet, being God's place, and an area or a place where people come to get solace. But because of the ongoing politics in various churches, to a point that congregants now saying that perhaps, you know, this is my last time to even attend a church, because when I go to church, I expect to be fed the word of God. But we have politicians taking the bigger time just talking to us about matters politics. Bishop, what do you have to say in regards to that?
Bishop Sandy Bill says that's so dangerous. I would never step in church because anytime he goes to church, the politicians take control. That's one person already running away from the church because of a politician. Does it worry you?
I think this is my day. I have really hard.
It seems you're getting more attacks today.
Not really. I think Kenyans are being very frank.
Yes.
And I would say, really, we are not here for blame game.
No.
But like what Dr. Kenywa has said, he advised for free, and I'm so very grateful, that we should not reserve special seats for the politicians in church. And because I know politicians are watching, please, when you go to a church and you find there is no special seat for you, don't blame the church. Blame Dr. Kenywa.
Yeah.
Take the blame.
He said it. Find your space.
Yes, find your space and be humble.
Yeah.
In fact, when you get into the compound, church compound, please remove your titles, remove your ambitions. You have gone to your Creator and to your God. Go there as a soul that is hungry and thirsty, that needs to be fed. So, yes, politicians are people. In fact, if anything, I have walked with them and I will continue walking with them. They are very needy people. They have a lot of masks they put on. If they remove this many masks, you discover this is a soul that is needy. This is a soul that needs chaplaincy. It's a soul that needs shepherding. And they have myriads of problems. Of course, they call me and we talk, and of course, I know the other part of the politicians. So Wambua has requested that when these politicians come to church, we should treat them as other people, as common people. And the Bible is very clear that we should not be partisan. That if a rich man comes, we take him in front and give him a seat. If a poor man comes, we tell him either he goes at the back or ships away.
Wow.
That is wrong. It is wrong, and I would urge that the fact. Okay, now in conclusion, I would want to say from my side that not all churches, if indeed ACK, the just recently PCA, and many other churches that I know have said no politics.
In fact, there's a viewer who is even attached a copy from Embu, from Catholic, saying that there's no politics in a Catholic church in Embu.
Yes.
Right.
And so we should go by that.
Yeah.
And again, I give this example that Kenya is a troubled nation. And if, for example, in your house, a bulb blows away, you don't bring down the whole house.
Change the bulb.
You change the bulb. If in the Christian world in Kenya, there are those who are causing us sleepless nights by allowing politics into the pulpit, there are one or two. They are not all of us. So let us bear with one another. And I would urge that you, the media, the fourth estate, you also help us in calling out those churches that are causing confusion to the sheep, because we need the pulpit to be left for God and God alone.
This goes back to you, Dr. here. So what is the role of the religious leaders? Because where we are heading to right now, as we started the show, the drums of politics actually is sounding so hard, and will be. We know there are no political rallies because of the containment measures for the COVID-19, but politicians will always be so sly, they'll find their way. Town halls meetings, they'll go to churches, to mosques, and what have you. How are we going to save that common mwananchi who is so helpless, cannot stand and say, no, this is a place of worship, no politics? What are we going to do to help the situation?
What we'll do, actually, we are going to go back to our mandate.
Right.
Because we are told in Islam, al-ulama'u warathatul anbiya, that the scholars, the religious leaders, are the heirs of the prophets. We will take our part, we'll stand and take charge. We will not allow politicians to come and identify what we are teaching our people, because they are also part of us. They are also our congregants. They are also our constituents. All these politicians you see around, they come to us for prayers. We pray for them. For myself, actually, I have contacts of more than 100 politicians in Kenya who call me to go pray for them.
Bishop also said that they call them every day.
Yes, I go pray for them, even their homes, and they come to my office at my home, and I always tell them, please, don't do what you're doing. And as soon as a politician goes haywire, if he doesn't listen to us, you'll never see us anytime being with them. I know what I mean, because people have seen me with some politicians, but as soon as they have gone wrong, I have been the first one to attack them, because I'm attacking them on behalf of the poor in Mathare, on the poor, attacking them on behalf of the poor in Kibera and other places. Those are people I'm serving. I'm not serving the...
So the question is, what is the role of now you as the religious leaders, even as we head to this hotly contested political season right now in 2022? What is your role?
My role is to...
as religious leaders, yes.
As religious leaders, actually, my role is to call for the righteous and stop the immorality amongst anyone.
Bishop, do you think your work is cut out for you?
Very well.
Right.
In fact, one is the prophetic mandate. The prophetic mandate is to call people back to the ways of God. Our prophetic mandate is to give people hope. The other role that we have is that of awareness. What are the times that we are living in? For example, right now, and I want to mention, they are very good Kenyans. Every Sunday we feed hundreds, actually thousands of families, ready meal. And this one comes from good well-wishers, people who give their money and time. Because the times are hard, can we stretch our hand and help one another? So we of course do awareness, and our other role is to call for behavioral change. Because a politician is a human being who has acquired wrong behaviors. Not all, because I know there are good politicians who are out there to serve humanity. But there are those others who are like from Judges chapter 9 from verse 1. Abimelech, the guy who would kill his brothers, he killed 70 of them so that he can rise into power. So we call them to change their behavior. We call them to change their mindset. And learning is very hard. And because people cannot remain in a vacuum, we have now to teach them ethics. We have to teach them morality. We have to rebuke their immorality. Because we have seen it, even our children.
But Bishop, somebody will say that as much as you want to rebuke the immorality, a politician will come with some good what we call sadaka, and you say, today amekuja mheshimiwa ndio huyo. So you are the people who allow them in the pulpit, because you know today is going to be my day.
We are learning the hard way. The politicians come, they have made their money, and you cannot tell this money. In fact, you cannot tell where they get the money. And when they bring, there are those
who say they have business and salary.
They have business. Others said they were doing this, and so that is how they acquired billions. The religious leader, hear the voice of God. Stop defiling the pulpit. There is more. Actually, our Lord Jesus Christ asked a question. What would it benefit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his soul? So the soul is what we should look after and be very careful. And religious leaders are also human. They are tempted. They have bills to pay. They have fuel they have families to take care of, their family, and so they are tempted. They are human beings. And I said we are not here for blame games.
No.
But like we are welcoming even for the state to call out those who are not walking in the right way.
Yes.
And I know you are doing it.
Yes.
You're doing it, and you should continue. But then our duty will be to heal. Our duty will be to call home the wayward preacher, the wayward politician, and so that the wayward journalist, the wayward lawyer.
That was not meant for me.
no, it's not for you. You people are doing good work. But that apple that is spoiling the other apples, before we discard it, we throw it into the bin. We'd want to have heart-to-heart talk with that person who is wayward, with that preacher who is doing immoral things, with that businessman who is doing an ethical business. We sit with them and seek. That is our role as religious leaders, how they can have a mind change, behavioral change, and we can listen to them.
My director says that time is almost coming to an end, but then now, let me ask this question. So how do we bridge the gap between the politicians and, the flock and, the Kenyans in general? How do we bridge that gap so that we know there is a very thin line between you as a congregant and you as a politician and that person who is also attending, a sermon or a mosque or a church? How do we draw that line so that we see that all of us are the same? Starting with you, even as you bring your closing remarks.
Thank you so much. The way we can do that is just to emulate what our prophets were doing, and also make sure that when politicians come to church or mosque, they be the same, at the same pace, at the same level as other people. And I'll give just a good example. When our president Uhuru Kenyatta came to Jamia Mosque for iftar last year, he came and sat down. And we didn't, when a politician come in the mosque, as soon as he enters the mosque, we always tell them that وَأَنَّ الْمَسَاجِدَ لِلَّهِ, this is the house of God. فَلَا تَدْعُوا مَعَ اللَّهِ أَحَدًا. We don't worship anyone before God, with God. So when you come to our mosque, leave your bodyguards aside. They cannot be every time with you around. You are in mosque. This is the house of God. If you knew that you are coming to mosque and you feel that there are people who might kill you even in mosque, don't come to mosque. We don't want to see those bodyguards, bouncers around you everywhere in mosque. No, we'll never allow that. You come, you sit where you have found us in. And I've prayed with many politicians, and they come to my mosque. And you know one thing, in mosque, there is the pulpit where I preach from.
Yes.
That pulpit, my friend, even the billionaire who sponsors the mosque cannot step there.
It's a holy ground.
That is the holy ground. No one will step there. It is for imam only. The imam can be riding a bicycle or walking on foot, and the other person will come with bodyguards, but he cannot touch that pulpit. So I think if the church do the same, they make sure that when a politician come and the politician come late, he should sit there at
and
the
listen
back
to the
there.
word. Listen to
what's happening. If you want to speak to the congregants, you wait for them when they are going out, because out there now, that is another ground. But in the church, in the mosque, we should not allow any politician to come and do anything. And I think the last one is to advise, if you are Muslim, just do like Malcolm X did. Muslim leaders should go and read what Malcolm X did. If they are Christians, let them go and read what Martin Luther King was doing. If they are Hindu, let them go and learn what Mahatma Gandhi did. And we will be the best in this world, and we will make people become at the same pace with the politician. Lastly, no one should elect any tainted, corrupt politician in this country.
Thank you. Bishop?
Yes.
Is there hope for this country?
Yes, there is hope. And I would say that we have spoken a lot about the politician, and the bad one at that.
Yes.
And the question is, could you be there and you are a good person? You should join politics. A man, a woman of God with the right ethics, moral stand, that is what we are missing. Bold men and women, the Moses of today. We are missing from Exodus chapter number 3, when God spoke to Moses and said, I have seen the trouble my people are going through. And I've heard their cry. And Moses was singled out by God. So I would want to tell the Christians, because actually they shy away from the world of politics, is that politics is okay. One example we have, an international example, is the Malawian president, who is a bishop of Kenya, I mean, not Kenya.
Yes.
He's a bishop of Assemblies of God.
Yeah, yes.
And so I know we are starved of time.
Yeah, we're starved of time.
The good person who is not going out there to serve is equally guilty.
Yes.
By allowing the wrong crooks who are out there, who are oppressing the Kenyans.
All right. Bishop, allow me just to stop there. But the director says that I'll be fired. I don't want to lose my job.
You become a bishop.
A good one. A good one. Promise me that next time, because moving forward, we'll need more of these encouragements, because we have to get the right thing at the right time, moving toward, even as we head towards the next general election. Thank you so much. We have been talking to Bishop John Warari, who is executive member of the Interreligion Council of Kenya and also a lecturer of theology, as well as we have Dr. Sheikh Kinywa. Thank you so much for joining us. He's also a lecturer of religious studies at the University of Nairobi. All right, we are not yet done. We are taking a break, but we'll be right back with more. Stay around.
Began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC. Informing, educating and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC. Kenya's listening. Kenya's watching.
Why you would protect Han Yunxi even though she is a spy for Queen Mother?
How will you repay me?
Just name it.
Who is trespassing in my manor?
He must have a greater purpose. I will continue investigating.
He wouldn't think that I am having an affair, right?
He does really care a lot about you.
Oh no, the crown prince asked Gu Qishao to investigate the powder that he switched. Do you know what the powder was?
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Find it in your heart to forgive him. And make sure that your conscience is clear. I forgave him.
Do you really think that guy is going to betray you?
No, he won't do it. But if he does, I have the perfect way to ruin him. He was the one who stole all of Amaya's money.
If I become the owner of 50% of El Paraíso, I'll be a nuisance. If Dad won't appear, it'll be the biggest nuisance.
Hold on, my love. Why are you only telling me about all this now?
No.
And I think we must accept it.
No, it's not. It's not reasonable.
Because Mauro isn't coming back.
No! It's not reasonable, Mother.
De una forma differente.
Get the VIP access to the best shows on KBC Channel 1. We have something different, something special to spice you up. Get ready for new, exciting and captivating dramas. Movies.
Love the smell.
Comedy.
I went to the popos. Huh?
Drama.
Did he assault the queen in my house, in my presence?
News, sports, and so much more. Do the things that make you happy on KBC Channel 1.
This is where it all began. As the mother of broadcasting in Kenya, you can trust KBC to bring you authentic news and programs to your living room. As KBC, we take pride in our unrivaled heritage as Kenya's trusted national broadcaster. Commanding over 92% digital television signal coverage of our country, 23 radio services that cut across our entire language spectrum, a national, regional and international digital presence backed by the most experienced and top-notch broadcast professionals in the industry.
A very good evening to you.
The new look Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is truly ahead of the pack. Turn to the mother of broadcasting in Kenya for stories that resonate with our identity, our aspirations as a people united in purpose. Real stories of hard work, of passion, of creativity, of big dreams. Stories that cement our nationhood. Stories that bring us together as one. We take pride in our shared heritage and destiny. KBC. Informing, educating, and entertaining Kenyans as one nation. KBC. Kenya's listening. Kenya's watching.
Welcome back. We are glad you are still keeping us company here on Good Morning Kenya. In case you are just joining us, don't worry, you missed the first fire discussion, but you're right in time for the second fire discussion that we are about to have here. Remember, you can always talk to us. Let us know where you're watching us from. If you would like to contribute to this conversation, we absolutely welcome you to do so using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter, at KBC Channel 1 on both Facebook and Twitter, and you can also tag us individually at Raymanyara, at Dorina Range, at Victor Olom, and at Jane Wambui across the socials. Now we get onto the health segment, and this specific conversation is all about breastfeeding, given we are celebrating the International Breastfeeding Week, which runs from the 1st of August through the 7th of August. Now, as we get into this conversation, let me just say this. This discussion is meant to be informative and not discriminative in any way whatsoever, and especially to mothers who have infant children and whichever alternative of feeding you have chosen to go with. This is meant to be an informative session. To help us better understand, conversations around breastfeeding, we have with us in studio this morning Gloria Toiwa, who is a pediatric clinical officer as well as a lactation consultant. Good morning, Gloria.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you so much for making time to be with us again.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. How can our viewers find you on social media in case they want to engage with you as well?
Facebook, Gloria Toiwa.
Yes.
Just that.
Just that.
For now.
Simplicity at its best. Now, we are celebrating World Breastfeeding Week. As a lactation consultant and as a pediatric clinical officer, What do you think of it? It's something that has been celebrated for some time now.
Yeah, sure. It has been celebrated for some time now. And it's an exciting moment where we also, think about the little ones and what is very important for them.
Yes.
It's important for us to remember what gives you the best kick to your life. I mean, breastfeeding is your first feed and it gives you the best in life. So
yes,
it's an exciting moment talking about breastfeeding, reminding, encouraging, it's very exciting.
Absolutely. And today we just want to understand the nitty-gritties that, come into play when we talk about breastfeeding. For most of the people, if you haven't gone through the journey of breastfeeding, you might not really understand how you can be there for a mother who is breastfeeding. Now, you have
Sure. Maybe we also need to start by, just saying what breastfeeding is.
Yes, that's why we talk about those nitty-gritties, because we are living in a time where we are seeing all these other terminologies coming into place. Mara, it's not supposed to be called breastfeeding, it's supposed to be called chest feeding. So much has been said about that, but that's a good point to start. Breastfeeding in itself, as simple as it may be.
So in the simplest definition,
yes,
breastfeeding is a physiological process. Physiological meaning it is a natural process of feeding a baby, where the baby latches on a female human breast and gets milk. So that is the simple definition of breastfeeding.
A female human breast.
Yes,
in humans.
In humans.
Yes. All right, but it has to be a female breast for that matter. Now, when we talk about breast milk, it has been known to have so many advantages, and maybe for the benefit of our viewer, once again, we could start by highlighting those advantages that come along with breast milk in itself.
Breast milk is actually very, very important for both the mother and the baby.
Yes.
If I may, let me just talk about breastfeeding in itself first, because the process of breastfeeding is so is physiological, yes, but it also gives a lot of advantage to both the mother, the family as a whole, and even to the baby.
Yes.
So to the mother, for example, it's about the bonding. The first moment when you get to hold your baby in your arms and you're feeding them, the bonding that you get with your baby is out of this world. And then also, we recommend that your baby should start breastfeeding within the first hour of life. And that initial breastfeeding actually improves the maternal bleeding, because as you breastfeed, there are hormones. Oxytocin is produced from the pituitary gland, which assists in controlling bleeding. We call it PPH. So it also assists, in controlling the bleeding. And then also it is available. You don't have to go shopping looking for breast milk. It's available.
Ready-made, ready to drink.
Yes. And it is affordable.
Yes.
And it is very effective. Yeah, you get all your nutrients in the same package, and the temperature is just what is required for the baby.
Okay.
And then also for the baby, it improves the nutritional requirements for the baby. The proportions of the proteins that you get, the proportions of the vitamins that you get in breast milk, the proportions of fats, the proportions of carbohydrates that you get in breast milk. It's actually what is required for the baby. You cannot compare what you get in a mother's breast milk with what you get from cow milk, for example, or with what you get from goat milk, or what you get from camel milk. What you get from a mother's breast milk is the ideal for their baby.
Okay.
In terms of everything that you get. And then let's not forget about the immunity as well.
Oh, yes.
Because we have the IgG, IgE, IgM, all those are antibodies which your baby gets from your breast, and it helps to prevent so many infections, including the pneumonias, the recurrent colds, the recurrent ear infections. This immunity also prevents against eczema and other allergic reactions. And it also the immunity that you get also prevents from getting most of these GIT related complications.
Okay.
So there's no way we can emphasize anymore the importance of breastfeeding.
All right. Now, you see, for most people, when you are a first-time mom, breastfeeding can be a nightmare. And I'm speaking from experience. There's so much that you get to learn while you are breastfeeding that you're not really prepared for. Let's start with the mental wellness of a breastfeeding mother. from what you have seen interacting with the different ladies out there as a lactation consultant, why is the mental well-being of a mother a priority to encourage breastfeeding?
Okay, you know, in anything that you need to do, you need to set your mind first.
Yes.
So this should start for any expectant mother. This should start from your antenatal clinics. So there are good hospitals out there where during your antenatal clinics, you also have birth preparedness classes, which assist very much.
But not many can afford that.
Yes, they cannot afford, but you can spare. You can spare a little for that birth preparedness class. Even just one at your 34 or 38 weeks will help a lot, because your experts will take you through the process of getting yourself psychologically prepared for breastfeeding. And as you get yourself prepared psychologically, it will also assist in getting your milk ready. There are mothers who already have breast milk by the time they're 20 weeks, by the time they are 30 weeks. So psychologically, once this mother is prepared, then by the time you're having your baby, you're actually ready. There are also other places where they have support groups for lactating mothers.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is also important. Unfortunately, people have left support groups for other issues, you know, and we forget we can have lactation support groups even for mothers, for young mothers, for first-time mothers, for elderly mothers who have had this done again and again. And it's not just about the first-time mothers, because every new mother, even in your third baby, fourth baby, the experience is totally different. So something else that really needs to be worked on is family support.
The psychosocial support from the family.
Yes. Like a friend of mine, my boss the other day was saying, in her talking to families about support, she endeavors to talk to the spouses, the husbands, how are you supporting your wife when it comes to breastfeeding? Because you should be the number one support that your partner gets. So the family, if you've got any siblings, if you've got your brothers, sisters, anyone around you, it is important that the whole family supports breastfeeding.
To help with just the mental space, first of all. Conquer the mind, conquer the body.
The body.
That's what I always say.
And even the healthcare workers, by the way, let me not forget, because you realize, unfortunately, we usually want a quick fix. Like, this mother is not able to get milk, let's give formula. It's a shortcut, but are we doing the best for the baby? Sometimes we need to try just a little more to encourage the mothers to settle down, to rehydrate properly, to get their mental state, up, and then we encourage them to get breast milk as much as possible.
All right. And how soon after delivery, for those who have not had a milk letdown during the pregnancy, how soon post-delivery is the milk expected to come down, the letdown to initiate?
Okay, so unfortunately, there are those mothers who would take quite some time before they get milk, but there are those who are lucky and they would get milk immediately. So let's talk about those who delay. Like I mentioned earlier, it's about the psychological. The moment you touch your baby on the breast, the pituitary gland is triggered in the brain, and so it produces your prolactin, which assists in the production of milk, and your oxytocin. So it is the moment you put your baby on the breast, there's just colostrum which comes, like clear substance, and most mothers might think this is not enough for the baby, but those few drops that you make is what starts off breastfeeding. So put your baby on the breast for about 20 to 40 minutes, an average of 30 minutes. If you put your baby every 2 to 3 hours, you put them on one side, 20 to 40 minutes, and when you put them to sleep in the next 2 to 3 hours, you can put the baby on the other side. So it might be difficult for the first 2 days, but as the baby latches on properly, and as the mother psychologically continues setting herself with the support of the healthcare workers, with the support of the family, then by the 3rd day, the mother should actually be able to make milk for the baby.
All right. So it's a progressive
Yes, it is.
Process. Don't
Yes.
be too hard on yourself. If the first few hours you have latched your baby and there's no milk yet and it's only colostrum, that is actually what the baby needs, because I believe the body understands how much the baby also needs.
Yes, sure.
Now, let's talk about breasts in themselves, because I find that is also another area that most women are not as informed, that hinder their success when it comes to breastfeeding. What are those challenges that come with the breast in itself in the whole breastfeeding process?
Okay, so during pregnancy, your breast already starts getting prepared to feed the baby. So one thing that you'll obviously notice for any expectant mother is that the size of the breast will actually increase in size. The size increases, and then around the areola, that is the dark part just around the nipple, usually starts getting soft, and we have some pimples or bumps that will occur. We call them Montgomery. Usually it also makes the nipple soft and ready for breastfeeding.
Okay.
And then it is also expected that the nipple should become darker and should start everting. Everting meaning it gets out.
Protruding.
Yes, protruding.
Okay.
So your breast becomes firm and it protrudes. Really looks nice at that time. And it's just getting ready to make milk for the baby.
Okay.
And even as it increases, the milk ducts also get open, so it's like pipe where the milk is going to pass through. So that makes it possible for your baby to start breastfeeding. So those are the physiological changes that occur. All of them are triggered by the hormones that you produce when you're expectant. And so when you start breastfeeding your baby, there's a continuous communication that goes on.
Okay. Now, we also have mothers that have nipples that do not adjust physiologically to what the baby will require, inverted nipples and such. How can they get assistance to just make sure that they're also able to breastfeed their children?
Okay. So usually we have those who unfortunately might have a flat nipple, or those who might have an inverted nipple. So it's quite difficult to latch a baby when you have a flat nipple or an inverted nipple.
Yes.
Inverted means the nipple does not protrude out. It is inside.
Going inside as opposed to protruding.
And the flat one
inside.
is actually flat.
Literally.
Yes. So this baby might not be able to latch properly on the breast. So what I have advised mothers to do is towards the end of your pregnancy, there's a way you can start pulling out your nipple. As you take your bath, you massage your breast and you pull out your nipple. That might help. There are some who have used breast pumps to try and as you pump out, it pulls the nipple out.
Yes.
But there are also medically assisted techniques which we assist people in hospitals. So in case you have a challenge with a flat or reverted nipple, kindly talk to any breastfeeding consultant that you have, and then we will handle it.
We'll be able to get...
Yes, we'll be able to, it's on a individual basis.
Yes.
We assess how good or how bad it is, and then we try to intervene at that moment.
All right.
Yes.
Now, once a mother has had their child and they've started breastfeeding, and we have heard some information that breastfeeding can also be a form of birth control to some extent, but there are those who would opt to have another form of birth control during this time. Does it affect breast milk or breastfeeding in any way?
Okay, so ideally, breastfeeding is a way of family planning. It is. But you realize there are mothers who would come to hospital in their second or third month and they're already expectant.
Yes.
And so they'll be like, no, you told us. What we don't understand is that it is supposed to be exclusive breastfeeding. Exclusive breastfeeding means you are not giving your baby anything else, including water, including, it is purely breastfeeding or vaccines or medicines when it is actually recommended. And breastfeeding works as a way of family planning when the exclusive breastfeeding is on demand. On demand means whenever your baby wants, day or night. If you do that for 6 months, then it might work. That means you need to, and it is not with a bottle. It's not like you express and give with a bottle. It is when you put your baby on the breast.
Direct contact.
Yes, literally on the breast, because the hormones produced are not as active as they are when you put your baby on the breast. If you use a breast pump, then there won't be that connection that is there. So when you put your baby and they latch properly, the hormonal activity that goes on is what assists with family planning.
Okay.
Unfortunately, in the current situation, we have mothers who need to go back to school. We have mothers who need to go back to work, and so many other factors around just sitting down breastfeeding for 24 hours.
Yes.
So that is why breastfeeding might fail as a means of family planning. And so we encourage mothers that when you come back for your 6 weeks clinic, yes, then we start, we put you on another option of family planning. So and again, like I said, even the conversation around family planning should start during the antenatal
clinics, yes.
So the mother should understand that, yes, you're expectant, you're going to have your baby. At 6 weeks, we will put you another form of family planning, because breastfeeding, yes, is a good form of family planning, but if we do not do it the right way, then it will fail.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, we have mothers who strive to breastfeed their children, but for one reason or the other, milk supply and letdown is not as efficient, and for some period they might even dry out, and so they resort to some medication to help boost and sort of jumpstart milk production. How safe are this medication, and how do they work when it comes to boosting milk production?
Thank you so much for that. Now, if you can allow me, probably I would also want to talk about, just apart from the milk letdown, other challenges that a mother might have when breastfeeding. So you might realize
that interfere with the breastfeeding
process. Like we said, those who need to go back to school, those who need to go back to work. And then there are other mothers who have medical conditions, those who have hypothyroidism, those who are on radio or chemotherapy.
Cancer treatment.
Yeah, those who have had previous breast surgeries might not be able to make enough milk. There are also others who are not psychologically prepared. Yeah, they are going through difficult situations financially, socially, you know, they might not be able to make enough milk.
Yes.
And then definitely if they do not get enough support. So actually statistics show that 80% of mothers usually desire to breastfeed their babies. They want to breastfeed their babies.
Yes.
Ask any mother who is expectant, they will tell you, I desire to breastfeed my baby. Up to 80% of them. But only 65%, 2019 statistics, are able to achieve that. In 2014, it was about 61%. In 2008, it was about 35% of mothers who could actually achieve that. So we have improved from 32% to 61%. We are now at 65%. But now these challenges are some of the things as lactation experts we try to assist the mothers. Like you said, the option of medication.
Yes.
There are products which have been manufactured which are have shown to increase the production and letdown of milk. Yes, it is true. There are those products which assist. Safety to the baby, studies are still ongoing, though most of them, actually there's no drug that is totally safe for the baby, even including paracetamol. There are no medicines that are entirely safe for the baby. But now we look at the risk versus the advantage, and so
what outweighs the other?
What outweighs the other? So if this can assist the mother to make milk, then we can support the mother with these medicines that we can give. Some of them are hormonal, some of them assist with the letdown, some of them are muscle relaxants, which will just assist the mother to make more milk. But that should not be a permanent solution.
Okay.
It is just to assist the mother as we look at what other causes do we have that we can intervene differently.
It's sort of a jump start,
yes,
to help with the milk production. And we always hear lactation consultants and other pediatric clinical officers encourage us to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months. What is the ideal period for breastfeeding? When you're done with this exclusive 6 months, how long after that should you keep breastfeeding? What is recommended? So
WHO recommends 6 months of exclusive breastfeeding, and then after that you start weaning off your baby. Weaning your baby, and up to 2 years you should give complementary feeds with the breastfeeding. So your baby should continue breastfeeding up to the age of 2 years. And then after that, you can go on for as long as the baby wants.
Yes.
There are those who can breastfeed up to the age of 5 years, and there's totally nothing wrong about that. As long as the mother is comfortable and the baby can go on breastfeeding for that long, then it is okay. Because actually, breast milk has been found to increase the neurological development of the baby.
Child, yeah.
Yeah, it improves your baby's retina, so the eye development is better. It improves the cardiac function of your baby. So your baby will start school and they'll perform well. Studies have shown that babies who breastfeed up to 5 years actually are very good in science and maths as compared to those who have not breastfeed for that long.
Okay.
Yeah, so breastfeed your baby for as long as your baby wants, but exclusive for 6 months. And then recommended, highly recommended for up to 2 years, and then for as long as you can go on.
Now, when we talk about the lifespan of breast milk, for those who, yes, you have exclusively breastfed, but you also express some and store them. What is this? How safe is this stored milk, and what is the lifespan of that you can safely use it on your child?
So the highly recommended is that as you express your breast milk, you should store them in a refrigerator. And once you open that bottle,
refrigerator or freezer?
Freezer.
Oh, okay.
Yes, in a freezer. So whatever is first in should be first out. So last in should be last out.
Okay.
As you organize them in your freezer. And then whatever you have planned to give your baby on that day, you take it out of the fridge, it thaws, no microwaving, no boiling in whichever way. You just let it thaw on a flat, dry surface, and then that's what you'll give your baby. If it remains in that bottle, then you discard.
What of dipping the frozen milk in warm water?
In warm water is fine.
That's okay.
That's okay. In warm water, but not in a boiling pot of water. You boil your water, put it on the side, and then you can put your bottle inside. Yes. So if milk is left on the table, then it should not go for more than 8 hours.
Okay.
Yes, because once it goes after 8 hours, the temperature definitely changes. The immune factors also change. So 8 hours, do not go past that. So in your freezer, your milk can stay for up to 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah, well frozen can stay up to 3 months. Yes.
That's the threshold that you would recommend?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, what of mothers who fall sick here and there, but they are breastfeeding? Does it affect the quality of the milk?
Not necessarily. But you know, once a mother falls sick, then her immunity is in question. Yes, yes. So once a mother is sick, again, we look at it we weigh. Is this mother well enough to feed the baby? We cannot force a mother who is totally unwell to feed their baby. And just like I mentioned, medical conditions usually interfere with our exclusive breastfeeding. Yes. And also remember, there's some medication which unfortunately can pass through breast milk to the baby. So we weigh on what is safe for the baby. But if the mother is comfortable to breastfeed, then why not?
Because we've had so much speculation around COVID-19 and breastfeeding mothers and what relationship it has. Does it affect the child?
With COVID-19, you know, there's so much study that is still going on.
Ongoing, yes.
And we even had questions about expectant mothers getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
Well, there are no studies to say do not vaccine. So we have vaccinated expectant mothers, and they have had their babies, and they're breastfeeding them.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, as we draw to a close, you know, the theme for this year's World Breastfeeding Week is Protect Breastfeeding, a Shared Responsibility. And we have to be alive to the fact that breastfeeding shaming is a reality for so many mothers. When it comes to protecting breastfeeding as a shared responsibility, how is it a public health responsibility to protect breastfeeding? Because most might not understand. How am I supposed to protect her while breastfeeding? What is the relationship therein?
Well, all of us have a responsibility when it comes to breastfeeding. And because it's a public health concern, you realize babies who have not breastfed are 40 times likely to die from childhood illnesses like pneumonia and diarrhea. And up to 15% of them are likely to get, you know, diabetes type 1. They're likely to get cardiovascular diseases, obesity, and even the rising numbers of childhood cancers. Yeah. So that's why we encourage breastfeeding, and it is a responsibility for each one of us. In organizations and companies, we are actually reminding them to set up good strategy for a safe environment for mothers to breastfeed. You can have a nursery set up for your babies to breastfeed. Actually, it is a requirement that every organization should put up a safe place for mothers to nurse their babies, or at least to express their milk and store it properly until it is time to go home. And then as healthcare workers, we are also charged with the responsibility to continue talking about breastfeeding. So we educate the public, we talk amongst ourselves, we encourage mothers, we tell them the importance of breastfeeding.
Okay.
And we are actually protected to breastfeed. There's no law that denies us breastfeeding. We are protected. It's only that it could be embarrassing for a mother, but you can cover yourself nicely while breastfeeding, even in a public area.
Yes.
So there's no reason why you should not.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as we close this conversation, I cannot close without you giving some advice when it comes to nutrition of the mother during breastfeeding. I, for one, know and can attest to the fact that I was extremely thirsty and I was sweating as well. And you eat quite a sizable amount of food.
And you didn't see where the food
And 2
goes.
hours later, you're like, bro, where did all that food go? When it comes to proper nutrition, because many a times you're told, eat this, it will help with milk production, and it might not work with you. How would you advise a mother to go about their nutrition and hydration for that matter?
Unfortunately, there are so many myths around breastfeeding.
Especially the feeding part. Ooh.
We are lucky we can afford 6 meals in a day. You can imagine there's this mother in Turkana
who cannot afford even 2
who cannot
meals
afford
a day.
2 meals a day, but we are still telling them breastfeed your baby.
Exclusively.
And some of them do breastfeed on those flat breasts. They do breastfeed their babies. So whatever you eat, as long as you're okay eating it and you have no allergy, food is food, eat.
Okay.
You should have at least a minimum of 6 meals in a day and a minimum of about 8 glasses of water, because you realize breastfeeding, a mother who is breastfeeding well will actually lose weight very well during the first 6 months of breastfeeding. So that's another advantage, by the way. It helps you to cut the fat. And so the thirst is there because that water that you took is also important to rehydrate your baby.
It's a huge component of the milk.
It's a huge component,
Okay.
about 80% of that breast milk.
All right.
So you're going to rehydrate your baby as well. You're losing fat, you're losing every energy that you have is going to that baby. So that's why you need to have your meals at least 6 times in 24 hours.
So it's not entirely about the specifics of the food,
Not
but
entirely.
just nutritious.
Good, nutritious, balanced diet.
All right.
And then also,
very briefly, I'm being
Very
told
brief, yes.
I'll be fired. It was Victor who was getting threats. Yes.
I wouldn't have this show closed without telling the mothers how to properly put their babies on the breast, because we have seen so many mothers who come with complications of poor attachment, poor positioning of their babies. So positioning is how you put your baby on yourself. So the baby's tummy should be facing you as
tummy to tummy.
Tummy to tummy.
Okay.
And the ear, shoulder, and the tummy should be straight.
All right.
And then the baby's arm should be on the lower side of your armpit, so the baby is closer to you. And there are so many positions you can hold your baby. You can cradle them, where I can use my dummy, where the baby
very
this is my
fast.
baby's head.
Yes.
When you cradle, the head is here, and on the palm you hold your baby like this.
Okay.
So they are breastfeeding. You can use the football, where the baby's head is here and you put them like this. And if you have twins, then one here and one on the other side.
I think due to the constraint of time, we will be back to just have the demonstrations around positions to encourage breastfeeding and proper breastfeeding for that matter, to just make sure that you completely get all the milk from one breast. Thank you so much. We have been speaking with Gloria Toiwa. She is a pediatric clinical officer as well as a lactation consultant, all about the International Breastfeeding Week, celebrated through from the 1st through to the 7th. That is all we had for you today. Thank you so much for staying with us. We do hope to see you again tomorrow. My name is Jen Romboy. Have a lovely day and do enjoy the rest of your viewing. God bless.
Kupata Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Mwenyezi Mungu ni mwamba wangu, ngome yangu na mkombozi wangu, Mungu wangu, mwamba wangu ninayemkimbilia ninapohitaji kuwa salama. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili. Zaburi 18 mstari wa pili, dial star 811 star 817 hash. Star 811 star 817 hash.
Ala! Nissan Serena ndio hii. Na unaweza kuwa wewe ndio tunapikia simu. Kodi ya Nissan Serena ni NS. Alafu kisha kwenye amount ni 50 bob. Hii Nissan Serena tunakupatia na shilingi 50.
Kujiunga na QuickBid ni rahisi. Enda kwenye M-Pesa, bonyeza paybill kisha weka business number 4032353. Kwenye account weka kodi ya bidhaa unayotaka na bid yako ya chini zaidi. Kwa mfano TV 16. Kisha weka shilingi 20 tu kama idadi yako. Weka bid yako pia kwenye www.quickbid.co.ke. Kumbuka, bid ya chini zaidi ya kipekee ndio hununua. QuickBid, bidhaa bora kwa bei ya chini.
Na kuomba utulie kijana. Sikitika kusema kuwa Maya alipoteza mtoto wake.
You tried to kill us, mother.
Kama mimi ingekuwa nimehusika, huyo Maya angekuwa hahemi saa hizi.
Usinishike hapo ukaja ukanitia mimba upepo alafu ukaniruka.
I want my son today. Na kama hamtampata mtoto wangu, wewe na machizi wako mtanitambua.
Quiero amarte de una forma diferente, de otro modo.
Find it in your heart to forgive him. And make sure that your conscience is clear. I forgave him.
Do you really think that guy is going to betray you?
No, he won't do it. But if he does, I have the perfect way to ruin him. He was the one who stole all of Amaya's money.
If I become the owner of 50% of El Paraíso, I'll be a nuisance. If Dad won't appear, it'll be the biggest nuisance.
Hold on, my love. Why are you only telling me about all this now?
No.
And I think we must accept it.
No, it's not. It's
Yes,
not
it
reasonable.
is, because Mauro isn't coming back.
No! It's not reasonable, Mother.
De una forma diferente.